If you've ever gone back and forth on the tired argument on whether or not we're in a recession, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Welcome back. It's time for another episode of live trading where we are going to extract some more money from the market. I hope you all are ready. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
Good morning and happy Wednesday to everybody. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Shaka's already out here smashing the like button without us having to ask. That is the exact type of big trader energy I wanted to see. Good morning, Edward, Jonathan, Abadi. I really need to have some help with your name. Abadi, AC 2000, Tenzin, Richard, Market Sniper, Shaka, Let's Talk, Carmen, Jane, Big Bees, River, Jay Grant, Steady User, Webcoin, Ashvin. Oh man, we got tons of aura thinking about it. Smoke Tuna, Richard, let's go. We are going to have an excellent morning, and good morning to everybody else whom I didn't get to. Let's go ahead and bring on my main man, 13. 13, how is your morning going?
Oh, it's going just fine. Just looking at some of these things that I'm getting ready to make some trades on. Getting a little excited here. Ready for some Extraction. Great movie, by the way.
Ready for some extra? I've never seen that.
You never seen Extraction?
No, it's good, huh?
Put it on your watch list.
Okay, that's on Prime, isn't it?
Thought it was on Netflix.
I'll check. I'll see if I can find it, though. Good. We're going to start today with a movie recommendation. I'm here for it. Let's also then start with The Spy. Stop me if you've heard this before, but we are pretty much butting up against that top level that we were recently in. Now, we really haven't done anything this morning. I realize in the pre-market here, we traded down to about 569 and change, actually 569.69. In the pre-market, we've really kind of come off that level, but again, we really can't get much above 571. 13, I think you had a really interesting take on one of the things that you were looking for today. Do you want to go ahead with that here?
Sure. So over the past 4 days, there's been some of a formation happening here with the SPY. It's kind of interesting because it's more of a continuation pattern and not so much a reversal pattern, but from the red candle and then the following 3 candles we've had over the past 4 days, that sets up a map hold pattern where today may result in a large red candle that engulfs the other 3 green candles from the past 3 days. That's what I'm going to be watching for. So the price action on that would be something to the effect of we likely open higher, maybe trade up a little bit higher, but by the end of the day, we've engulfed those real bodies of the 3 candles, maybe even the wicks. So if that's the case, then we would end up closing somewhere down around 565. Now, I don't want to make any predictions that that's exactly what's going to happen, but because of the way this pattern is shaping up to be and how it forms, that's what I'm going to be watching for to see if we end up getting a large red candle today. Now, if we don't, then that's the pattern's considered dead, and we can move on and look for something else. But it's just interesting that we've got a pretty interesting setup here of what's supposed to be a bearish continuation pattern. But we're in an uptrend. So this is something I'm going to be watching for. We're going to see if we end up trading up out of the open and then going lower by the end of the day. But that's what I'm looking for today.
Okay, Steady User, what was the name of that pattern?
Map hold, bearish map hold pattern.
Map hold, MAPHOLD?
M-A-T.
Okay, mat hold, almost like a wrestling thing.
Yeah.
So there you go, Steady User. So we'll see. We'll see if we get that bearish pattern. I'd love that. I'm not sure I buy it. Not anything to do with you. Just the buy the dippers. They're in control. Clearly,
it's like I said. I don't want to make any predictions. I'm just going to see if it happens. And if it happens, then it's we can probably talk about what comes next. But if not, then we can look forward to something else. But that's just something I'm going to be watching for.
Okay. Really good stuff. Let's roll through the movers, and then we'll take some of the stocks here from the chat. I'm assuming you folks want to take a look at them. I'm assuming we'll get to that here in a sec. I'm going to start here with the movers, and we are going to start with Octo. Absolutely. We did talk about this one yesterday, I believe. We talked about it being a day trade. It is up here 65% here in the pre-market. XIII, which is the name of the company, ticker is OCTO. XIII Holdings stated that it has made significant progress in 2024 by improving its balance sheet, most notably through the elimination of $5.4 million in convertible notes and increasing shareholder equity by $23 million. That's driving the stock higher here in the pre-market. Let me go to a 1 minute chart here. And we actually have a pretty nice formation. Sorry about the shading here. I'm not actually sure what's going on. There we go. There we go. So we actually have a pretty nice formation here, right? We have this impulse move that took us to 458. We pulled back down to 350. Now we've reclaimed the VWAP. We've back tested the VWAP. This does, to me, at least right now, look like this is going to go higher. Volume here in the pre-market looks good. We've had several expanding surges of volume. I would hope for the same thing here in the regular session. 13, do you have anything here on ticker OCTO?
Yeah, aside from their revenue target that they have, they're expecting for 2025, they also, like you said, did the elimination of convertible notes, increased shareholder equity. But the day before, yesterday, they also regained NASDAQ compliance with the minimum price requirement. So a couple of things I think we're moving on here. And I know that that news came in the morning, and we did get some movement in Octo yesterday, just not as much as we are getting now. They do have a 1.53 million in the float, and I don't think that it needs to raise cash. It seems like it's in a pretty good position based on its ability to make revenue. It's been making revenue for the past couple of quarters now. They don't have a lot of cash on the balance sheet, but that's kind of why it's a little bit of a question mark. And I'm just like, well, maybe they don't need to raise it, especially if they're expecting 100 million in revenue next year. So that's the thought I have there. Don't want to say they may not raise cash. It could be some kind of other type of debt they take on with the credit facility, perhaps, but I don't think they need to raise cash at this moment. And it looks like it's trading above VWAP right now. So I'd be wanting to see what we get into the open, if we continue to hold that or if we lose it. And if we lose it, then we can talk about some price targets of where it might bounce down in the 3 handle.
Okay, so let's observe the opening print get set here. Ticker OCTO, good start here. All right, next is going to be MSGM. I got to be honest, a little bit of a lull here with this one for any of you that play video games or have played video games in the past. Ticker MSGM. This is Motorsport Games. We did pop in the after hours yesterday on some decent aftermarket volume. When we opened the pre-market here, we got another volume spike. That took us up to 195. We've retraced that entire move and spent the rest of the pre-market under the VWAP, as VWAP is clearly resistance here. So this is going to really need to show us a change in strength for us to want to really kind of take this long. What's driving this here, you say? From yesterday in the after hours, Le Mans Ultimate releases innovative co-op game mode, save and load system, and 2024 Pack 2 DLC. Okay, so I'm not familiar with Le Mans Ultimate, so maybe I'm talking out my arse here. I don't know, but I will say that this is 13. I'm curious to know if you've seen this. It seems like they press released that they released a patch.
Yeah.
Am I missing something here? Because to me, this does not seem like the stock should be driven up 27% or 80%, whatever it was earlier. To me, this just kind of seems like a fluff thing. I can't remember the last time EA Sports press release that they've issued a fix.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. EA Sports, remember when Activision Blizzard was publicly traded? Whenever they updated one of their games or came out with a content patch, I don't ever recall their stock moving as much as this. But to be fair, their float is much, much larger and higher priced at the time. But still, at the same time, this is kind of ridiculous. I do agree. The company is in and out of profitability, so whatever news they get is surely going to be a big boost for them. They do have 1.7 million shares in the float, so this is going to be something that like some people are saying in the chat, probably another pump and dump. It's just going to get pumped up, and then we'll take our profits and say thank you very much, and not look at this until I guess the next game update. But this company does need cash. I don't think I'd be careful with this one. Just keep that in the back of your mind that this is just moving off of a game update, and the company still needs to have a sustained level of profitability. They've been in and out of it over the past year.
Yeah, and just kind of going along with the actual patch here, it allows a co-op mode. I can absolutely see why that is popular, especially for racing fans. Goes on to say that early access for the pack is £10, or excuse me, €10. No, I beg your pardon. That was £10, €12. And then there's also a season pass that you can buy. So perhaps they're forecasting, this is a really popular edition. They're forecasting the cost of this update. I don't know. To me, this all just, I wouldn't necessarily trade on this. Just as kind of an aside for someone that has played racing sims in the past, they allow players to save, but you have to be at a pit stop. That's really good. Some of these racing sim people are absolutely crazy, and they were saving every corner just to make sure that they got the best possible track time. So shout out there, MSGM. All jokes aside, I don't know about this one, 13.
Well, let me tell you a little secret that I've learned from some people that I've talked to in the video game industry. When they release early access, that's kind of a scam. You're getting early access to the game, yes, but you're getting an early version of the game. And you're paying for an early version of the game, but you're also helping with quality assurance. You're kind of testing the game for them. So basically, you're paying the company so that you can test the game and help them give that QA feedback. It's kind of a scam, but just wanted to point that out there for you if you're since you brought up the early access.
Yep. Okay, sounds good. Next here on the list is going to be ELYM. This is Elim Therapeutics. I don't see any fresh news here for this one. The stock did trade up earlier today. Looks like we hit a high of 1385 in the after hours. We bled back most of those gains, and then we also bled a little bit here in the pre-market. I got to be honest, unless this thing firms up or something changes here, to my eye, it sure looks like this is going to go lower in test 7. What say you here, ticker ELYM?
Yeah, this had no news that I could really see, but when I looked at the daily chart, it appeared to have a really big drop over the past couple of days, and that also resulted in a large increase in volume over the daily average. So I think we're seeing a little bit of a rebound after the drop, and we're seeing some price action based on the relative volume. The float is on the heavier side at 48.5 million shares. So heavier supply means that it's not going to really give us too many of those opportunities like we get from those high-flying micro floats. But this company does have cash, and I believe they have quite a bit of it. Yeah, they have 223 million in cash. They're losing about they just lost 54 million last quarter, but prior to that, it was in the under 10 million. So it seems like at this point they have a pretty decent runway. I'm not exactly sure what this company does, this biotech company does, but we're going to trade it because it's getting action today, but I just don't know how much of a trade it's going to provide. I have my reservations about it getting back up to where it was early in the morning back in the 11 handle, went as high as I think 1350 or something like that, almost
1385. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd have to wait and see what this does at the open before I want to get back into it. The float is a little bit heavier. It may not get back up to where we were before, but it's still possible.
All right. Good morning, Jay Wild. Great to see you, man. Hope all is well in your neck of the woods, my man. All right. Next here is going to be VSME. This is VS Media Holdings. This actually had a little bit of a ramp in the after hours. I had an interesting day yesterday in the morning, had a nice little pop, and then ramped again in the after hours. Today, it's doing a fairly decent job holding some of those after hour gains, although we are still below the VWAP, and previous attempts to take that VWAP out were unsuccessful. VSME, let me see if we had any fresh news. I was going to say, yeah, I didn't think so. Don't see anything here. This looks like just kind of continuation. 2.28 million in the float on average. We trade 1.1 million shares this morning. We've already traded 4.3. So maybe this is on deck here. Just seems like kind of a momentum or pump move. It doesn't really seem like there's anything driving this. What say you, 13?
No news. If anything, relative volume, 2.28 million shares in the float. Don't have a whole lot on this one. I don't even think I bothered to really look into what this company does, but it just seems like another one of these nothing names that's just getting a pump. But if it provides a setup, we'll try and capture some of that. But if not, then we'll look at something else.
Yep. Smoke tuna here, already given it to you. VSME. This is a no touch here. Kind of feels that way. Good call there, tuna. All right. Next here is going to be Tnon, TNON. This is Tnon Medical. We're really familiar with this.
Oh, yeah.
This one has been on the scanner multiple times here recently. Shout out back to Friday, September 13th, where this thing went absolutely ham in the pre-market and then gave us nothing in the regular session. We'll see what happens here today. You can see that this we've actually had multiple spikes here. We'll see if we can get above. Let me zoom in on this. We'll see if we can get above that VWAP. Really, until this thing can hold above its VWAP, if we get any type of pop like this that I successfully enter, I'm going to trade. I'm going to sell into that strength. I'm warning you now, if we have any type of ad here at a support level and this thing starts to ramp on volume like it's done twice in the pre-market, I am absolutely selling into this spike. I'm not going to wait this out for this to come back in and evaporate all of those gains. So TNON here, this is what's going on. Let's see, do we have any fresh news here today?
Yes. And yesterday after hours. I'm sorry, no, that was last.
I was going to say this is from last week. I don't see anything fresh here. This looks like just a continuation.
No. Yeah, and float under 500,000 shares. Somebody pointed out the short interest. I believe that's because they reverse split. Let's take a look and see when that was. That was September 6th. So we should be getting an update on that short interest.
Well, yeah, it looks like we got one here. It said percent of float shorted. It looks blank here. So I think that I'm not sure why. Maybe there was nothing in the filing because of that split. We pull this data from the filings. Interesting. Nonetheless, I still think we can assume that this is a relatively high short interest on this name.
Yeah, just the days to cover a little bit low.
Yep. Okay. Next here on the list, CAPR. Looks like Sydney was on this one here. CAPR. This does have 25% of its float shorted. You can see we actually had a pretty decent day yesterday. Grats to anyone that traded this yesterday. Actually held higher and looks like we've got a 10 test coming right now here in the pre-market. Unlike some of the other ones, this has done a really good job staying above its VWAP here. I'd really like to see some volume flow into this one to really kind of get going. Yesterday, looks like we had news in the morning there. H.C. Wainwright gave it a $40 price target. Say that again.
This was the license application one.
Yeah. This is the one from yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, the license application one, the one that was just like, hey, it's to me, it's like akin to the game update from the motorsport one.
Yep. I remember. What were you saying? This was on. It was moving on a anticipated update or something like that. I can't remember exactly how you phrased it yesterday. Worth noting here this morning, we've got another buy rating. Well, actually, two maintains. One a buy, one an outperform. Price target 25. Price target 43. So this thing considerably under its price targets. Remember, those are long-term price targets there. So CAPR. You got anything else on this one for today? 13.
Just the short interest is pretty monster. 25% of the float shorted with 45, almost 46 days to cover. It's pretty high.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Next here, I guess there's the Yang. That's the so I guess we should. What? Yeah. Let me get to that. Okay. Sorry. Here, Yang's on the list here. This is the Bear 3X China ETF. Yesterday we had Yin, which is the Bull 3X ETF. We had the news about the China stimulus. Looks like that was a one-day wonder as this is all kind of coming back in here. Look, I'm glad I avoided all of those things, to be quite honest with you. Okay. OKLO, this is another one that we traded yesterday. Looks like this is back on here in the pre-market. We'll see where OKLO goes. Shares trading higher after the company finished a memorandum agreement with the U.S. Department of Energy, granting access to conduct site investigations as its preferred site in Idaho. Okay, what was the ticker that you just gave me?
LASE.
Lassie, Laser Photonics. So here you go. What's going on with this one, my man?
I only brought it up because I saw that it was up near almost 10% there this morning. It's pulled back in right now, but it still has a pretty interesting short interest. Let me just pull that up. It was 20%. Now that is 1 days to cover, but it just, it was popping up on my scanner here. And I just thought it was worth a mention because we know this, we know what they do. And I just think it may be worth keeping an eye on this one in case it starts to come back up.
Okay, there you go. LASE.
Summit is undervalued.
Yeah, really quickly, Jay Wright saying OKLO doesn't even I think you mean own a building and is up on that. Like I said, be careful with OKLO. I've taken L's on that one. I'm not happy about it. All right. Summit was getting mentioned. Is that the other ticker that you just mentioned? SMMT. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. It's actually had a really good regular session. It's higher here in the pre-market. What do you make here as Summit?
Well, they did get a price target raised to $40, and they got a buy rating. I don't know what would make it undervalued. Is this the one that also had the upcoming? Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's different. That's VKTX, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just was mentioning it because Shaka had brought it up. I don't know that it's necessarily overvalued or not, or undervalued.
Well, I mean, if you look at Stiefel there, Stiefel's saying they got a $45 price, or excuse me, $40 price target on this. Well, I'm not sure why it's not showing up here in the answer. It's clearly there.
Yeah, short interest is starting to dwindle a little bit. It's been in the 20s for a long time, and now that's starting to fade. So maybe there's shorts covering here, or have been covering. I don't know, but I don't know what the valuation of this is supposed to be. But just thought since it was getting brought up, I'd take a look at it. We can move on to something else.
Yeah, Shaka's here saying the fair valuation for Summit is estimated to be worth between 25 and 70 billion. That is a bigger range than the low end of the target there. I mean, that is a humongous range. Current market cap 17 billion. Even if it's 15 to 50, that is still a gigantic range there.
Right.
Okay.
They do beat Keytruda, but remember, they still have to bring that to market and start selling it. So I guess we're probably talking like years out, 25 to 70 billion.
Yeah. Smoke Tuna giving us EBS, saying that is worth watching here. That's Emergent Biosolutions. Here's your daily chart. Looks like we're coming in towards that 200 there. Got that at $5. Your intraday chart looks like this. Emergent Biosolutions shares are trading higher after the company announced it has secured approximately 400 million in orders in 2024 and 2025 associated with its vaccinia, smallpox, and mpox product portfolio.
Well, it's more than its market cap.
So there you go. EBS. We'll see if that gets rolling here. Shaka saying that this looks weak here in the pre-market. It's
down
and really kind of rolled over.
Yeah, it's down in pre-market, but that's kind of nice. Those provide some pretty good setups. What we're going to want to see is kind of some not plateauing, but some bottoming here of the price action, and then we're going to want to see this try to go back up to VWAP, which I have at 677. Once we open here, that's what I'd be looking for with EBS. No, not going to take a pre-market position. Just want to wait and see what this will do out of the open. But I think with this one, if it starts going sideways, it could try at the very least to return to VWAP.
All right, FRGT here looks like this is going to this. You guys were saying this has a recent reverse split. Let's go back here. Split 1 for 25. Reverse split happened today.
Oh no,
happened today.
Did it happen today?
I mean, it says 9/25, 2024.
All right, they announced it on Monday. Gotcha. Okay. Got the wrong.
There we go. So FRGT trading up here.
So another freight company, Octo, that was a container company and packaging company, I believe, right? Kind of still happening with this theme of containers and drums and things. Yeah, containers and packaging. I just find it very interesting. We're seeing all these different packaging and containers and drums and all this different, shipping containers. The stocks is kind of moving up lately, so seems to be an emerging thing. We're getting a mention with RCAT as well.
Okay.
And what's going on here?
This is a Carmen favorite recently. This thing had earnings, I believe, the day before yesterday, and it did not look good. Earnings report did not look good. Things sold off and really kind of bottomed. Now it is kind of coming off that bottom. I don't follow this though, so I don't necessarily have a feel on this.
Yeah, so right now I can see RCAT's getting support from its 50-day SMA. First time it's touched it since July 5th. Doesn't look like it's very strong up here. Like it looks like it's starting to roll over. I'd want to see if it holds the 50-day SMA. That's the big thing for me. If it loses that, then we can start talking about price levels underneath that. Like it could be 240, it could be 165. 165 actually seems like it would be the next potential support level if we lost the 50-day SMA.
Okay, good stuff there on RCAT. Okay, where are we at here? Minute and a half till we open here. Anything you guys want to take a look at? Looks like we covered everything. FRGT, Octo, RCAT. KBH. Alex wanted to take a look at KBH. Didn't they report earnings here? KB Homes. KB Home shares trading lower following Q3 earnings. While EPS and revenue beat estimates, the company said net orders were flat last year and saw softening in late June through July. So it's going to be a home builder here. Not really surprised to see that this lower here post earnings. What did you say? You said,
Yeah, because we get new home sales at 10 a.m. So this could be a bit of a window into what those new home sales might end up looking like.
Okay. This also looks pretty extended and looks like this is a kind of at a top here. I wonder if that pulls back off that print.
Yeah.
MSS, this is one from yesterday. It looks like a number of you folks are mentioning this here today. Here's MSS. I don't really see anything going on with this. It did a fairly good job holding that pop. Didn't really break down and come all the way back in. Unsure if this moves here today. Do you guys see BNZI do anything here today? That's, of course, our favorite bonsai, which has done really well for us recently. Brittany, this just looks like this is kind of leaking here a little bit in the pre-market. It is holding this 540 area, so we'll see if this pops. But let's go. Let's go.
Placement. They raised cash.
Okay. All right. Sweet. Octo, I think, is my favorite setup, by the way, here. We'll see if Octo can actually move through here.
BNZI needs cash.
We shall see.
All right, and we're open.
We are open.
Okay. First things first. Octo, it's taken off right out of the gate. Not too much. It really
needs to. Doesn't it need to break this 425?
I'd say 460 is where it needs to get past in order for it to really
I see some size. Ooh. I saw some size there. Ooh. Okay. Wow. This is wild. This is kind of all over the place. I grabbed some there at 416, went up to 425. Let's see if we can push a little bit more. What was that level that you gave? 460 something?
Yeah, 460. That's a pre-market high.
Coming back in, they just brought in another set. Oh wow, they ate that. So I'm watching the level 2 here on Octo. They're putting offers right there at the ask, and they're getting chewed up here. A little bit of size there at 430, but that can get deleted out. Boom, big offer put in there at 425. They hit part of it, but it's driving that price down. If that gets taken, I think we go higher here. Half of it gone. Oh, wild stuff here on Octo right out of the gate. Let me know if anyone has any of this.
So right out of the gate.
Aura saying 404 entry here. That was pretty good. Let me know if you sold any in that. I'd have sold into that pop here too. Octo does not look like it's going to go down. Back at that 425 spot. They took the rest of that. Oh my goodness. This thing has got some juice here. 430, 433, your day high. Let's see if that falls. Bang. There we go. 435, your new high. What? Sorry, 13. I feel like I'm not sure over here.
No, it's okay. Keep going.
435 is going to be that high. We'll see if we get that. 410, the low. They did put in a bid there. We'll see if that snaps.
So EBS dropped down to the 200 EMA on the 5-minute and then rebounded, recaptured VWAP, and is trying to move up. We have a pre-market high of 718 in EBS.
Okay, I'm going to try actively trading Octo here. Took some gains there. I'm going to look for a pullback here. I want to buy under 420. There's 419. Let's see if this gets down into the low teens here.
CAPR.
Another stab at it. Sorry.
No, it's CAPR. That one's got some movement out of the gate here, trying to get to 1055. Not too far away now. It's just got to work through some of these sell orders at 1045, and then there's another wall at 1060. Not too bad out of the gate here with CAPR.
Okay, let me go over to that. I'm still waiting for another buy here on Octo. Trade 1 done. CAPR, this one looks like this is a little bit better here. We'll see if it pops above that 1050.
Even better is LASE. That's had a nice move out of the gate. Looking for 1630 in LASE.
LASE. Let me put that up here, but I do want to ask Smoke Tuna a question here. Smoke Tuna is saying Octo might come down. So I want to discuss kind of the thing behind the thing that made you say that, because for me, I'm watching this wild action going back and forth, And then as it starts to kind of like compress and we start to get less of that, it almost feels heavy at the top. I realize what I'm explaining here is more of a feel than like looking at an indicator and observing a value. But Smoke Tuna, I'd like to know why you think that might come down. It felt to me like it was getting a little heavy, even after some of those big purchases.
Micron.
Still holding here around 420. Would like some more context on that if you can, Smoke Tuna. I felt the same thing. Watch it chew and go higher here, though, on Octo. Sorry, Micron you were talking about?
Yeah.
They have earnings tonight.
Yes, and it's running into the earnings. 94.95 is that's after hours high. Just took that out. So we're trying to get into the pre-market levels of Micron from yesterday. Looks like the next one to go forward would be 95.50.
Okay, Octo, by the way, this did go higher here, so I'm taking another stab at this here. I want to see 440 get chewed. Took this in a little bit less size than the first trade, so I'm kind of working off house money at this point. I understand that this second trade is a little bit riskier, but I tell you what, if that 440 falls, we get another volume expansion candle down here. Good night. Crow in Tenon for a break of 5. I'll pull that up here in a sec. Octo, I'm not sure it's going to have the strength to get through this 440 here. We'll see. Come on, give me another attempt here. Give me another attempt there. Slap that ask. Yeah, you heard me. You heard me. All right, here we go. 440. They just chewed some of it. Let's see if they chew the rest of it.
All right.
They're on it here. Boy, it's finding it definitely finding some resistance here. 440 is definitely the spot. I want to see a pop through here on 4. There we go. They took half of it. There we go. It's fallen now. Let's see if we can get the rest of it down here at 440. Would imagine it goes higher, maybe even if it's only a little bit. There's a little bit of a knife on Octo. It might be a potential ad spot. We'll see.
And
really quickly, question here. Kailash Patel, what are you using to figure out where shares are stacked up? Really good question. I'm actually using level 2. Now, there's a bunch of different places and ways that you can observe level 2 data. I look at what I like to call a ladder. Sometimes it's called a DOM. It basically shows you the price and it shows you the orders, the buy orders and the sell orders on one side. That to me is just the easiest way to process it. That's kind of what I'm looking at there.
CAPR,
your broker, sorry, 13. Your broker has multiple ways of doing this, no matter what broker you have. Go ahead, 13. I'm sorry about that.
CAPR got through the pre-market highs. 1056 is now the high, but it's a little bit of a pull. Same thing with Octo. That's also pulling back down to VWAP.
This is exactly what we wanted here. So exactly, and it snapped VWAP. Let's see if it holds here and bounces. Smoke Tuna said you were looking for an ad maybe under VWAP. We'll see if we get that here on Octo. If this doesn't work, I'll cut this smaller trade here. We want to see it bounce from this VWAP. By the way, they just put some shares there at 412 and they just deleted them.
No, Blind Atlas, great work with MU. Still think it needs to come back in, but it's just not the time with how semis are super hot right now.
Dave, I said ask, right? We're talking about the ask on the ladder. Appreciate where your heart's at, but we're talking about the ask. A-S-K. All right, Octo bouncing off of its VWAP here. This is exactly what we were hoping for. It held for, and it's trying to bounce here. I'm going to give you the volume is still elevated, although it seems like it's turned to selling volume. We'll see if that changes around here. Smoke Tuna mentioning Octo a bit weak. I completely agree with that. If we lose this 405, we're going to lose 4. I don't want to be in it for that. BNZI is halted. I will get to that here in a sec. Let's see if this Octo bounces from here.
Yeah, BNZI with a little pop. Some of these other ones too. LASE after that pop out of the gate, that one knifed. What else? VST, that thing is, it's really expensive, but this thing is moving.
Mark, be careful. If this Octo doesn't, if it loses this VWAP here, we're not sticking around to see what happens. And if this pops above, let's call it 425, we're looking for an exit. Just to be very clear about the kind of trade that I'm going here. Remember, this was done with profits from the first move. I'm going to try and flip around here real quick because you're still waiting on this to resolve here. Here is BNZI. So it looks like we had a little dip and a rip. Is this halted? Yes, sir. Halted to the upside, it looks like BNZI.
Yes, sir.
Here we go on Octo. By the way, they brought in a big bid, 30K bid there, 416. They're clearly trying to drive the price higher here on Octo. Unsure if I believe that yet. 440 still your high.
I could still see them taking it up to 460 and then coming back in.
Okay. And so that's the thing there, 13. The one thing that I want to emphasize there, let's say you call that exactly right, and it does go up to that 460 area. I think you got to sell there, right? You got to, because they're likely going to knife it. Here we go. Octo back on. Let's see what happens here at 440.
Yeah, I just took most of that out.
Oh, you were in you're selling for a gain there. There we go.
I was going with you. Yeah, I just don't want to.
There's another bid brought in there at 430. I'm going to have a stop here at break even. So if this comes back in on me, I'm going to stop out of it.
That supply is getting eaten.
That sure is, but they held it. Here we go. Let's watch for 440 here.
Yeah. Probably be a good idea to start raising stops.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're in this one, it does. So this is kind of what Tuna was talking about this earlier. It feels a little heavy. They did take that there. Okay, out. All right, so 2 for 2 here on Octo. Not bad. It could go here, but you know what? I'm 2 for 2 on this one already. If this pulls, I'm not in it. So we'll wait for another setup here, Octo. Okay, I know I'm behind. You guys, I'm sorry. Trading the same name here. Here. For anyone that was trading that one, we just got 2 successful trades. I'm assuming we're all good there. What else do we want to take a look at? Sorry, I'm so far behind here, Octo. 445, you're still your high there. We'll see if that gets deleted. I'm going to roll through some of these stocks. Shout at me if you need one.
I don't apologize, man. You're having a great time. This has been it's fun. Octo was fun this morning.
Yeah, no, it was. It was. Motorsport Games, looks like we got a little bit of a volume pop in there. That was the update. FRGT, this going right back for the highs. CAPR, looks like half the group is on this one. That is continuing to punch the highs out here, CAPR. Okay, SKYE. I don't think we've looked at that one here today, have we?
All right. I need to figure out some stuff with CAPR because this thing is just monster ripping right now.
Okay. 2 wins and Octo. Let's go, Mark. Let's go, Mark. We're having a morning here. How's the actually I've been so locked in on day trading. How's the swing account doing? Swing account about flat. Okay.
Might get some resistance in CAPR around 12.
Okay, let me bring up the CAPR chart. Let's check in on Octo. Octo came. See, guys, okay, really quickly, I'm going to go back to that CAPR chart, but I just kind of want to finish up what we were talking about here. These pushes up, 13, shout out to you. You were hitting this too. These pushes up, I'm not afraid to sell into this. Look, we've already got some of these pullbacks. I'm probably going to get another opportunity here on Octo. Not afraid to take those gains when you have them. Not afraid at all. NNDM, good morning, Bex. NNDM halted to the downside. This looks like this is barely moving. Was that trading halt? News pending.
Uh-oh.
News pending.
Did they finally find somebody or acquire somebody? I think that's what was holding them up for the longest time as they were trying to pick up, what is that? That one? That
Desktop Metal, DM.
Yeah, so they did end up picking them up?
Well, it says ISS backs Nano Dimensions acquisition of Desktop Metal. We're halted news pending here. I don't want to speculate. We'll wait for the news to come out. Right. We'll go from there. That's what we'll do.
You're right.
Good call though. A good call though, Bex. Did not have that on my radar, and that's not the movement halt, right? That's the news halt.
You know, I'm looking at this weekly chart for CAPR, and this thing has blasted through its 200 EMA after getting rejected twice. Earlier this year, or I'm sorry, last year and this year, it has not been above the 200 EMA since 2007.
I have that 200 EMA value at 579. Is that right? This is it, right? Because I'm trying to use your same indicators so that I can provide the visual aid.
Yeah. So yeah, I have that at 200 EMA on the weekly chart at 665.
Okay, I've got a different value considerably.
That's on, so that looks okay, because that's pretty much kind of illustrates the same point.
Right. You're rocketing through these, right? It looks like you're really kind of coming off this base level here, and we're really popping here on CAPR.
Yeah, but it looks like because I can't really see any SMAs or EMAs that are kind of in the way that would provide a reversal or kind of a target to shoot for. It seems like 12 was a support level before it lost it. So I'm looking at 12 as where we could potentially get some resistance in CAPR.
Okay.
All right. Now
it looks like, and by the way, 13. So that 12 call almost spot on already. This looks like this knifing from 1189. So did not quite print 12s, but it looks like it is coming back in now off that.
Not bad. Octo's
back on here.
Yeah.
That kid is back on the escalator. Sorry, for any of you that have seen Mallrats, you probably recognize that, but that is instantly what popped into my head right there. This thing is back on. Might be trying to go higher here. 440 seems to be the spot. 440 does have a little bit of size there. 445, your day high.
You guys are doing pretty good here. Gold and uranium keep going up strong. Yes, line that. Let's keep going. 3 quick wins at Octo, and I'm out. Sideshow, if you're taking off, great job today. Have a great rest of your day.
Bring that cash register. Octo pulling back to the VWAP here.
CIFR is popping. Cypher.
Yep, I'll check that. That's Cypher Mining. This is a Bitcoin name. Bitcoin here at the lows of the day, actually 63,500 on the futures. CIFR bucking that trend, popping to new highs. Good call there.
CIFR has a got coverage. Northland Capital Markets initiates coverage on Cypher Mining with outperform rating, announces price target of $6.
And this is on the heels of yesterday, where we had McGuire initiating coverage and slapping a $6 price target on it. So it looks like more coverage coming in here. Cypher Mining, ticker CIFR. I know that it's a normal day in the universe because Jay is out here selling LUE for a profit. Jay, I don't know how many register rings I got left in the bank here for you. Hopefully you exit that position in full pretty soon. You continue to ring the register on this one. This one of those uranium names, this one a little bit thinner. Jay's mentioned multiple times. He likes this makes more. I don't know if he likes this more. This makes more money than a stock like CCJ. Look at this huge move here off the 41 handle.
Line Atlas, Line Atlas also mentioning NEM.
Sure.
This has been awesome since February when it bottomed, and has had just a massive rip at Golden Cross in May. This to me looks like it. If it's pretty extended now, 71 RSI on the daily, but if there's more fuel left in this tank to take it up higher, it could end up going to 60 before it starts to come, cool off and come back in. Great looking chart there, like you said. This nice bottoming action. I think 60, somewhere between here and 60 is probably going to be where you're going to get that resistance and potentially reversal. Really
good trade on this one. Should have joined you guys on this one. I do remember you guys talking about that. Really quickly, James, I saw this earlier, but I was knee deep in some stuff when you were talking about this. I am still short Google, so I told you I took some of those really short dated 155 puts. I'm underwater on them. Not by a whole lot, but still underwater. I'll be honest, I do feel like this could snap and flush. This was weak when the market was, or when tech was performing well. Google, one of the weaker names here. If this rolls around, I think this could be one of the first to really fall off. Tenon getting mentioned here by 13. Let's bring it on screen.
So what seems to be happening right now is that after we got this selling off from losing VWAP, we got a bit of support from the the demand zone here from the pre-market around the 450 area. So that giving a lift, looks like it's trying to recapture VWAP. Needs a little bit more volume, but so far that's looking pretty good. We're right at VWAP right now. See if we can punch through it.
Okay, it looks like this came off 460, 457. So this is 20 cents up off that low, stopping right here. I got a little bit of size there at 482, but not a whole lot.
Yeah, so just need to see a little bit more volume expansion, take us through BWAP, and then we still have those it must be after hours. No, pre-market highs of 538. Yeah, it is getting a little spread too. Only about 5 cents, but you're right, it's starting to spread.
Jay mentioning NVIDIA here, thinking 124 is possible. NVIDIA actually not far from that. Here you go. Here is your chart on NVIDIA. There's the 123. This is really the level that we were at here. This area right from right here, let's call it 123 and a half up to 130. This area should provide some resistance there. Maybe it gets taken out. I don't know here on NVIDIA.
Let's take a look. NVIDIA, we're looking for what exactly?
Well, Jay, I like Jay's call here of 124. It definitely feels like it's got some room to 124, but I think that area between 123 and a half up to 130 is pretty significant resistance.
Yeah, that little consolidation area there.
Exactly.
I agree. It's going to take more volume to get through that. So unless we get that increase, it's probably going to be maybe a little bit choppy. Maybe it just kind of like runs, then comes back in real fast a little bit. Every time it tries to hit that. Don't want to speculate on the price action, but that is an area that I'd be looking at for some resistance.
Hey, take a look now at Octo. OC. This is why we keep talking about taking the gains. Smoke Tuna, you were the first to say that this one looks weak. You were early by like 6 minutes. Pretty damn good. This thing now rolling over here. At this point, we want to wait for this to set up if we're even going to trade this here again today. Remember, folks, on some of these names, don't be afraid to take gains if you have them. Mark, how do you feel? Mark, 2 for 2 earlier on this name. Now the thing's breaking down. That's why we take gains early, boss.
Tenon, here we go.
I'm going to bring it up, and then I'm going to go blow my nose. We got fall weather outside. I got the windows open. It's awesome. BRB 1 sec.
All right. So Tenon, that's back over VWAP right now, trying to push up higher, looking for 5. We rejected at 5 earlier this morning. Tried to push up through there. We got as high as 503 and then came right back in and we started that sell-off. So here's our second attempt at 5. I'm going to need to see an increase in volume to get through this wall of sell orders. That's about almost 10,000 shares it needs to chew through here. Once we do that, still looking for that 536 pre-market high. Getting all right. He's saying SMCI is running.
Okay.
Finally making that move.
Did it finally make that upside move?
Yeah, I was thinking that it would come back up to the 50-day SMA. That 50-day SMA much lower now, so even more within reach. But man, SMCI. When did they ever release their report?
They were talking about that. I don't remember seeing it though.
Yeah. That's going to be the thing that probably ends up sending this up higher.
Top press release here from this morning is the OCT29 deadline. Quote, Supermicro Computer has been sued for securities fraud, end quote.
That's not what we want.
I mean, there's multiple for this same lawsuit in here. They're making it sound scary.
Yeah, speaking of scary, Tenon with some more upper shadows here. Be careful with this one. It's at VWAP right now, but the volume still doesn't seem like it's expanding very much. Maybe raise your stops a little bit here. Just don't like those upper shadows. Hopefully it's not done yet. We'd like to see this get back up to 536, but it's slowing down.
River, love to hear this. Thanks for the great show. No, S13 just said no problem at all. Green on the screen all morning. That's exactly what we want to hear, man. Love this group. We love you.
FNV, Franco Nevada Corp. This one looks like it really wants to get over its 500-day SMA. Let's see here. Okay, got cashed. And
Franco Nevada, the 2024 and 5-year guidance indicates robust sales volume, even with the exclusion of the Cobra Panama asset, highlighting the company's strong positioning in the market. Okay.
Yeah, I think this one sounds pretty good. I mean, I like the balance sheet looks good. The income statements are, well, they did have that one quarter where they lost almost $1 billion, but I'm sure that was
Details,
there's a
13
reason. Yeah,
details.
the devil's
Who
in the
amongst
details.
us
Of that
hasn't
report.
lost $1 billion here or there? I mean, come on.
It's not like every quarter, like BYD or whoever else is or Neo. Anyway, Franklin, Nevada. I mean, we're headed into a rate cut environment. It's going to be good for these leveraged stocks, even though I don't think this one has a whole lot of debt. But this is lower rates are great for miners, shippers, oil drillers. So it's it looks like it's going to be good future for this one, especially if we can recapture that 500-day SMA. That currently I have at just a few cents short of 130. Let's look for 130 to get broken. And here we go with Tenon starting to move up through 5, trying to go through 5.
Also, MSGM shows how much we know. The video game patch popping at the highs here, 165. Let me put Tenon up here.
Well, I guess the thing, yes, Jonathan Cooper is, I think you're right about that.
The home sales data comment?
Home sales data is coming in 7 minutes. Tenon, yeah, that one it broke out of the high from earlier this morning. So now we're looking for 536. And after that, 538. That was the after hours high. So let's just get into the 530s, and that'll be good. We're moving now with Tenon.
Yeah, we sure are. I feel like I'm chasing a little here on Tenon. Brian, I like this. 2 shorts for the win on the ES futures here. I'm done. Bought at the high, sold at the 200 EMA using the one of 13's day trading EMAs here. Bought again at the pullback, sold at the 200 EMA. Awesome stuff, dude. Awesome stuff, Brian.
Get out of here and have a great rest of the day. You killed it.
Wow. So, wow.
He said he's out, so I'm just like, get out of here.
I know. I didn't have 13 yelling at people to get out of here on my bingo card today, but here we are.
Hey, if you have an opportunity to make money and then go and be away from your desk, absolutely do it.
And I don't know where you live, Brian, but where I live, we are quickly approaching the end of the nice weather days here. So if you can get out there and touch grass and not sit in front of a terminal all day, it sounds like a win to me. So good stuff there.
What is that building company symbol? What building company? Did I mention a building company this morning?
KB Homes. We talked about the home builders. Is that what we were talking about? We did talk about that earlier. Is that what we're talking about?
That I think that might be the one, because that's like the only one I think we were referring to this morning.
Okay, I'm going to do a quick roll through some of the trader names here. Octo looks like this did bounce off to 200 EMA at 378. Tell you what, 13, you're giving me more stuff to look at here. I was explaining yesterday how when I'm day trading and doing some of these scalps, some of this stuff here, I pretty much only use VWAP, and that's when things were going really well. When things started to kind of change here, honestly, 13, your EMA package here is actually giving us a number of different spots where the stock seems to find support. Tenon getting, oh my God, this is screaming to the highs above the pre-market here. The pre-market high here, beg your pardon. Volume expansion, this has got everything that we're looking at. I'd trim some of this position right here.
Yep. Okay. Now we beat the we beat the pre-market highs. We're now higher than that. I'd definitely be raising stops at this point.
Yep. Really good stuff. Good catch here on Tenon. Anyone that's in this.
Thinking about it, I believe we are. Is that the case, Ryan? We getting Tim today?
We are getting Tim. In fact, Tim is chomping at the bit here to join us. He's actually already here thinking about it. He was thinking about you.
CAPR, this one is holding VWAP. It looks like it's trying to push up into the intraday highs here at 1187. Keep an eye on that one, or maybe even give it a trade if you think you've got the setup here.
James, I can't tell if you're trolling because we already talked about Google multiple times here today. I do think this is going to trade with the rest of the market. Market so far looks like it's pushing higher here. Q's at the high, SPY curling and going for the highs. I don't know if we're going to get 13's bearish formation here today.
Yeah, but still has a whole. We have the whole.
Yeah, that's
day
true.
left.
That's true.
But yeah, like I said, I just need to see if that's what's going to happen. I'm not trying to trade that pattern. I'm just waiting to see if we get that final candle out of it. And then if we do, then we'll decide what to do from there. But Micron, new high, 95.30.
Micron, of course, has earnings here later today. Okay, folks, it is just about 10 o'clock and it's a Wednesday, and you know what that means. It is time for Tim Melvin. Let's bring him on. And we're back. Tim, Happy Wednesday. How you doing, man?
Well, we're just down here. It's September in Florida, so we're getting ready for a tropical storm. Great big sucker coming up the Gulf of Mexico today and tomorrow. I don't think we're going to take a direct hit this time, but the winds and the rain, so it's going to get fun around here. But you emailed me yesterday and said, "Did you guys have Village Bank and Trust? Was that ever one of your stocks?"
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. Unfortunately, we did miss Village. We didn't miss Generations. I don't know if you saw the second email.
I did see it. We're gonna get to that here. You just came on with the treat so fast I couldn't even take 3 seconds to give you your damn flowers here. I'll tell you something. Last week when you joined us, literally a week ago, you gave us Sezzle, ticker SEZL. We were talking about momentum plays. Okay, that was going to be Wednesday, September 18th. The stock was 150. We got 30 points in a week. 30 points in a week. Now, I'm not going to name names here, but when you were giving it out, there were a couple of jabronis in the chat saying, look how extended this was. You're buying it up here. You're crazy. Well, here we are, 30 points higher.
Here's the
30 points higher. Tim, you got any other 30-point winners for us today?
I do. I have some potential. I do have some momentum stuff. We ran some screens yesterday, getting some stuff ready for Benzinga Edge, and we'll get to that. I'm going to hit banks first, okay?
Yeah, let's do it. I had to mention this. I had to mention this if for no other reason than some random person talked smack about this pick last time, and now they're being smacked with a wad of cash in the face. So let's talk about those picks.
I saw those comments, by the way, on Sezzle last week, something about accumulation, distribution, and blah, blah, blah. Guys, look, when we get into momentum investing or trading, I don't care what shingle you hang on this thing, okay? If the momentum is being driven by fundamental momentum, you got to be really careful about just throwing chart patterns on there. You want to go back and look how many times you would have sold Monster Energy from 2000 to 2020, okay, because of some technical setup formation. But here's the thing about Monster. And by the way, that stuff tastes like garbage. You can cut it with vodka, gin, I don't care what you put in. MNST, I think.
MNST.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Right. This thing over the last 20 years has made millionaires, and tons of them. It started in about 1998, and the fundamentals kept getting better. The stock kept getting better and kept going up and up and up and up. You just sold this stock 100 times. And it's the same thing with Nvidia or any other the big monster momentum window. It's overbought. Well, sure, that's the definition of momentum. So when we get into momentum, guys, is the price still going up and the fundamental momentum still moving higher? If it hasn't hit your stop, you just stay and you ride. Because the whole idea of momentum, Ryan, is you pick 10 stocks, right? You're going to get stopped out of 8 of them somewhere along the way. What you're hoping for is 1 or 2, just pardon the pun, monster winners.
Yeah.
That go up to, 10, 15, 20, 25 times what you paid for the stock. You only need 1 or 2 of those in a lifetime. Now, circling back, I'm going to do 2 things here. First, we're going to talk about bank stocks. Village Bank and Trust, it shot up big time yesterday. What was that?
What was the ticker again? VB Village Bank and Trust, VBFC. Here we go.
VBFC. Okay, this thing shot up, huge. It went up from about mid 50s up to $77. Town Bank's going to buy the bank. Now we missed Village. We did not miss GBNY. Okay, now GBNY went all the way up to 12. That's very cool. We own the stock at about 8 in the market buy portfolio for banking on profits. It's one of our thrift conversion stocks that we've owned for a while. So we're going to have like an 80% gain on this, but there's a trade out there that you guys need to be aware of. It's too boring for most of you because we've owned GBNY for a while. We've owned it for a couple of years now. But GBNY was not bought by another bank. It was bought by a credit union. This is our second credit union deal of the year, both of which we cashed out monster gains. They're all cash deals because credit unions don't have stock. But there's a major tax arbitrage here, Ryan, in that when you do a bank deal, normally you can take out about 30 to 35% of the costs. That's how much overlap and everything is just in there and closing branches. Well, you know what credit unions don't pay? Taxes. So now you can take another, say, 18 to 22% out of the cost. You can whack out like 50% or more of the costs on an acquired bank because they're going to take these assets in, they're going to make profits on them, and they ain't going to pay any income tax.
Okay.
And so we're seeing more and more of these. So if you're in a state with a lot of credit unions, all you want to do is look out there and find the list of thrift conversions that are 3 years old and still trade at, under, say, 250 million in market cap. There's a good shot that if they're below book value, they're going to get bought by a credit union. This is a massive tax arbitrage. The regulators love these deals. Congressmen have figured out too late they left a tax loophole open, but there's 2,700 credit unions out there with thousands and thousands of members each that vote. So I don't think that they're going to be closing this loophole anytime soon. Plus, they'd rather have all the assets in a credit union than an actual profit-making bank anyway.
Sure.
So if you look in your state, New York, California, leaping up to the top of mind, states with lots of credit unions. If you've got small banks that used to be mutual thrifts, and they're trading below book value, you need to start building a portfolio of those. It's going to be boring as hell until days like yesterday. When you come in and you say, oh my God, I just doubled my money on this stock and the credit union is going to buy it. So I'm going to get an all cash deal. Now there's also like GBNY, we'll use as the example today. There's a cool arbitrage trade in that right now because this thing is trading at a steep discount to what the eventual payout is going to be worth. And so you've got about say between 12 and 15% annualized return, just buying the stock at this price and waiting for the deal to close. Because again, the credit union can't issue stock and they can't take the stock. So this is going to be an asset sale. They're going to sell all of the assets and everything to the credit union. The shell corporation will continue to exist. So the cash from the credit union is going to come back to the Generations Bancorp shell, who will pay off their debts and distribute the money to you. So it's a cumbersome process. The deal is way too small to attract any risk arbitrage attention.
That was going to be my question. Is there any chance that the deal doesn't go through, or you're saying it's too small, it's not going to matter?
No, I'm talking about the risk arbs. That's a little bit of a factor. I think it's lower than a straight up regular deal where the regulators would be more concerned about a bank buying a bank. But there's always a chance, particularly with the current incantation of the OCC, the FDIC, and the Fed, that a bank deal doesn't get done or drags on longer. But your probability here is skewed way over towards this deal getting done and you getting paid. I'm not aware of a credit union deal that's failed yet.
Okay.
So anyway, there's just that thought there. That's something that, I get it if you like trading but unless you're allergic to money, you need to be looking for these smaller banks surrounded by credit unions because their takeover probability just accelerated.
Okay. I still haven't met a single person allergic to money, but let me know if you find that person.
Oddly, you'll meet them as you go through, and you can, I'll give a presentation on investing in small bank stocks. Now, Ryan, you've known me for a while. You go back, you look, my track record was small, but we've made a lot of money, right? I put my kids through college, several bartenders' kids through college, buying small banks and just sitting there and waiting for something to happen. Now today, of course, I've, got married again 14 years ago. I'm not allowed to put bartenders' kids through college anymore, but we continue to pay, for most of our lifestyle and, keep the dogs in the high grade dog food, in large part because of small bank stocks. It's ridiculously profitable. It's a game that institutions can't play in a large scale manner. So it's like our last playing field. That's just ours. So take advantage of it. All right, let's go to momentum.
All right.
Now, last week we talked about momentum with a certain type of fundamental momentum. This week we're going to give you, I'm going to give you 10 stocks this week, Ryan. So write these down. Okay.
Got it. Let me get my notepad up and I'm ready.
Now we went simple with this, and this is going to be something we're really going to show off in Benzinga Edge and Pro.
Okay.
All we're going to do is we want fundamentally solid companies. Joseph Piotrowski wrote a report back in 2000. It's been improved a couple times on how you use his Piotrowski F-score model to rank companies. The higher the score, it's a 9-point scale. The higher the score, the more fundamentally solid the company is. And it's on operations, leverage, financials, everything for this to be a great company. So all we're going to do is we're going to take Piotrowski's idea. We're only going to look at stocks that have perfect fundamentals, F-score of 9. Okay. And by the way, the F-score of 9 means the fundamentals are fantastic and they are getting better. They're improving. So now we're going to take some of Gary Antonacci's work on dual momentum, and we're only going to use stocks that are positive over the last 52 weeks and beating the market over the last 52 weeks. Then, Ryan, we're only going to take the 10 stocks that meet these criteria that have the highest smooth momentum. Now, smooth momentum means we're using a volatility calculation to make sure that it's not a story or some, instant expert on Twitter that has told a story or made up a thesis that has sent the stock soaring. Because that's where you get Wes Gray called it herky-jerky momentum, and I love it. And it's usually garbage, right?
So some of the names we trade in the morning here are on that quote herky-jerky momentum. I totally understand what you're referring to.
Yeah. So I mean, it's rumors of an FDA approval, right? I mean, there's 3,000 rumors, and one of them is actually true.
Sure.
But the stocks will all bounce all over the place. We don't want that in this longer-term investment portfolio. So, okay, are you ready?
Yes.
FTDR. This is front door. Okay. Stock's got fantastic fundamentals. I'm sure there's something wrong with the technical pattern or something else out there, but it's just a home service plan that literally that's all it is. Covers repair, replacement of appliances and systems, that type of thing. American Home Shield. Not the sexiest business you're ever going to see, but it's a very good business right now. Then Louisiana Pacific, think lumber, think housing shortage, and you get to understand why this company's fundamentals are so fantastic, and it's got strong, smooth momentum. When you look at a chart on the stocks that I've talked about, I mean, they're just going up and to the right without a whole lot of drama. Then NRG Energy.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. The next ticker here is NRG.
NRG, yes, NRG Energy. That's our oil and gas play. Then we got to get to Western Midstream Partners, WES. Then Westinghouse Air Brake Technologies. Now, you'll notice what's not on here, the sexy tech companies and all the super exciting stuff. Not the companies with the best fundamentals. Best stories, yes. And there will be other points in time where those stocks make this list. They're not on it today. Okay. Enerpac Tools. It's just that is EPAC. It's just industrial tools. Nothing super sexy about it, but that chart's pretty damn sexy. It's just smooth up and to the right.
Yep.
What that tells you, the fundamentals are great, and big institutional flows are just moving into this stock steadily, accumulating it, buying it based on the fundamental improvements, and it's just pushing that stock higher and higher and higher. Then Ralph Lauren, I don't get it. I mean, I wouldn't have been caught dead in one of those, RL is the ticker.
Gotcha.
I would not have been caught dead in one of those ridiculous outfits they made for the Olympic team this summer, but to each their own. People like the clothes, and the cafe's overrated and ridiculously expensive. I'll fight you. But RL, smooth up and to the right, great momentum, great fundamentals.
Sorry, don't know why I can't pull a chart on this one.
Which one?
Yeah, for whatever there we go. For whatever reason, the chart wasn't resolving here. I'm trying to pull these up as you mention them.
Okay, ACIW is ACI Worldwide. Again, that's a company actually that we've had for a while. We've mentioned before on Benzinga, and it just keeps going up and up and up and up. Again, not the world's most, exciting business. It's payments, electronic instant payment software system. It's a global company. And you can tell because, it's got their headquarters in that global hotspot of Elkhorn, Nebraska. Nonetheless, it's a great company with great fundamentals that's attracting institutional buying interest. Okay. Then next one's one of my favorites because I have to tell you that I have been known to just walk into this store and walk around and walk out with 2 carts full of crap for my granddaughters. And that's Ollie's Bargain Outlets. The symbol's OLLI. And it's a bargain outlet. And they've got books and toys and stuff for the house. And it's ridiculously cheap. It's kind of a Big Lots sort of situation, but great store. Really important. They're a major sponsor of the Baltimore Orioles and have signage throughout Camden Yards. That's critical as we go into the playoffs next week. So then the final one of our 10 is Texas Roadhouse. Texas Roadhouse is everything Ponderosa wishes it had been back in the day. So now there's 10 stocks that have strong fundamentals and great price momentum. All right. Now you set up a portfolio of these things and it's real simple, Ryan. You're going to ignore them. You're going to ignore the accumulation, the distribution, the sideways, the Bollinger Bands, the ups, the downs, anything going on with the stock. You're not going to do that word with this. Okay. Once a month, you're going to come back. Is it still beating the market? Does it still have a positive 52-week return? Does it still have an F score of 9? Yes. Move on. As long as it fits the criteria, ignore the noise, the news, the crap, the garbage, the rumors, and hang on. Occasionally, you're just going to get stopped out. You're going to come down and you go, F score's 8, I'm gone. Or the return, the return's getting uneven, or it's not beating the market anymore. I'm gone. Right? So you're going to stay simple, rules-based. You're going to think long-term. You're going to trade every month in this thing, so don't worry. I'm going to feed your addiction a little bit. So, there will be some turnover in the portfolio, but it's the 1 or 2 that you find using this system that just keep getting better and going up for long periods of time, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. And then you get something like Limback Holdings where you turn around, you look and you go, this is not an exciting business, but holy crap, I just made 8 times my money.
Yeah, exactly. The excitement of the business tends to not matter when the chart looks like this. All right, real quick here, just to recap, I only have 8 here. It looks like the chat only has 6, so I probably screwed up, chat. Let's not blame our kind guests here. I had FTDR.
Right.
NRG.
LPX. You left out Louisiana Pacific.
LPX. Thank you, Tim. So now I've got 9 here on my list. I'm going to keep running through the list here real quick. So FTDR, NRG, LPX. Then I had EPAC, EPAC.
Oh my God. WES, WAB.
WAB was the other one that I left out here. You had mentioned the name and not the ticker.
Yep.
And I screwed it up here. Westinghouse Air Brake. You did talk about that.
Yep.
WAB. Okay, that's all of them. That's WES, WAB, RL, ACIW, Ollie, and TXRH for Texas Roadhouse.
Absolutely correct. By the way, shameless plug for Texas Roadhouse. I actually hate chain restaurants and love the Texas Roadhouse. Fantastic. The food's really good. Good steak, great atmosphere, good service, reasonable prices. I'm telling you, if you've got family in town and you're going to get stuck with the dinner bill, you don't want to pay like this massive Ruth's Chris level bill for steaks, take them to Texas Roadhouse. Catch them on a good night. All the waiters and wait staff are dancing in the aisles and it's a lot of fun, but the food is good. And just like I said, the service is always excellent. And, you'll be helping my stock price go higher. So I want all y'all to just drop what you're doing. Texas Roadhouse for lunch. It's on Ryan.
There, so, hey, how you threw that in there was about as pro as it gets. I will say this about Texas Roadhouse. I had many and awesome Friday nights in college, gathered up a bunch of people, went to the Texas Roadhouse, had a couple of beers, absolutely gorged on the free peanuts that they have in barrels that they give everybody.
Yeah.
By the way, if any of your friends have a peanut allergy, you can't take them to Texas Roadhouse. You'll be taking them out in an ambulance because they'll breathe all that stuff in. Okay, Tim, this is really, really awesome. There's a ton of stuff. You brought all types of gifts here today. All types of gifts.
Just in case I get hurricaned in and we're out of power for 9 days again, I thought I'd load you up. But...
Okay. Well, I look. I hope that you guys are okay with that storm down there.
As it
Don't
looks
let it push you around, okay?
As it looks, not me. I mean, we're
I know.
we're good, man. The Kindle's full. We can get through 3 days without having to recharge that sucker. We've got a generator. I mean, we're golden. But up in the Panhandle, hang on, guys, because this one's going to be big, and it looks like it's coming right for you. So, and by the way, it's probably going to bump up gas prices. So.
Okay, I'll be sure to fill up this weekend. Tim, look, we can't thank you enough, man. Hunker down. Hopefully everything's all right, and hopefully we'll see you next Wednesday.
If I have to go sit in Starbucks and drink that rancid garbage they call coffee in order to get online, I'll do that next Wednesday morning. Okay?
Let's go. Starbucks is terrible. Don't overpay. Tim, thanks again. Have a great
one,
my man.
Have a great week, guys. Bye-bye.
How lucky are we that we have Tim Melvin here? That's the first thing. I mean, that is just...
I feel like we hit the lottery.
Any of that on my bingo card either, and it was awesome. It was awesome. Okay, stay safe. Indeed. Chicago Realtor, sorry about that, man. We had a full slate here. Could not really get into 3 more of those. He does talk about oil stocks in some cases. Keep those on the back burner. We will ask him when he gets back. And everyone out there, fingers crossed. Let's make sure all of our friends in Florida and in the South there are okay from the hurricane and the tropical storm. Okay. What did I miss while I was gone? I did see that there was a massive octo move to the upside. Yeah. Hopefully you guys hit that. Looks like it knifed all the way back down to the support level. Now we're holding above 4 there. So it looks like octo was wild here. Sorry, 13.
No problem. Back to start for octo. TNON is actually doing much better. We hit a high of 597. Getting a little pull right now, but still well above VWAP. This could continue a little bit more given the volume holds up. EL. Yeah.
This was a really good comment, or Alpha. God, please
there won't be headlines.
Florida man. He's our own Florida man, and it is some money.
There won't be headlines anymore if we lose Florida. So,
God.
Florida man to be saved.
Okay.
But yes, I wrote all those down. I'm going to take a look at them. Maybe dabble in a little bit of those. They look good.
Yeah. And so one of the things Tim's been kind of talking about here is how we're going to handle this stuff in Edge and Pro, and we're really, really excited because one thing for any of you that have been around the Benzinga ecosystem for longer than just the 2024, all we do around here is try to create and improve products. And Benzinga Edge is one of the newer products. We're actually going to bring some of the fundamental analysis to Benzinga Pro. You guys, I'm going to create model portfolios of Tim's picks in Pro when all of this gets done. We're going to have pre-created scans. So literally you select it from a drop down and hit the big button that says go, and it's going to give you a whole bunch of stocks. It's going to be awesome. And Tim has worked quite a bit alongside our team in order to make that happen. So we're giving you some treats and some breadcrumbs on the way, but the full-blown deployment will be sweet. It'll be sweet.
Getting a FAAS mention.
I saw that one on the scanner. Here you go. Ooh, nice formation here, FAAS.
The news was from yesterday. They are acquiring Paymate for $400 million. Usually when you see an acquisition, it goes down. Maybe it's just rebounding. Let's take a look at the chart.
This thing had a pretty huge pop above 240. It's coming back in. It looks like it's trying to go back towards those highs.
Hold on a second. There we go. Okay, so yeah, there was a much bigger volume day. So this is moving, looks like, on relative volume because of the news it had the day before. That's FAAS.
Just looking over at my account statement here, trying to get an idea of what's going on. Sorry.
Oh,
Smoke Tuna says this one's a no touch, FAAS.
Yeah, it looks like the move was yesterday because you can see from the volume candle, from the volume stick there, that that news about the acquisition sent it up.
Crow booking gains on Tnon here. What a move on Tnon. I thought we were good with Octo. Look at this move on Tnon. You were all over this.
Looking for 6 and Tnon.
RKLB Rocket Lab just taking the stairway to heaven right here.
And Lunar moving in relation with that.
Someone else was mentioning Lunar while we were talking to Tim earlier. Lunar on the back side of that staircase now.
Yeah. Popped up to 817, coming back in now, getting support from VWAP.
Motorsport Games looks like that came back into one of its EMAs there. It's going to be the 100 EMA. And we just retook VWAP. I believe that's VWAP. Yep. Just took out VWAP.
MSGM, that how'd that one end up doing?
MSGM?
Yeah.
Yeah, that had a big move right out of the open, pull back to the 100 EMA, and now a move back towards the highs. We'll see if it can stay above the VWAP. I got that VWAP at 154.
It's NNDM or NNMD, whatever that.
Yeah, that was the one that was halted
one for
news pending. Let's see what happened there. Still halted, I think. Did we get the news, though? No, I don't see any news for this one. I just see that halt.
It's kind of curious. I want to know what that's about.
Yeah, me too. RZLV getting mentioned here. I think I saw Bex mentioning that one earlier.
Resolve AI.
This one, Resolve. Yeah, this is from today. Watching it spike higher on companies' response to Bain & Company's forecast of the AI market explosion, predicting annual growth between 40 and 55%. Market size approaching 1 trillion by 2027. So this Resolve AI here up almost 19%.
Gosh, I was going to look at something and now I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I probably ran over you too much. There's a lot going on.
That's a busy day. Not a problem. But yeah, I saw we're also getting a mention earlier about Intel having a pretty big day. That one that one hit 24.
Oh my goodness. Look at this on Intel.
Mm-hmm. The gap fill begins.
Oh my God, we're in that gap, aren't we?
Yeah, going to 28.89.
24.43 I have here as the, what is this? The 100 EMA. Yep.
There you go.
In the daily, we are in that gap. Okay, interesting.
All right. So
any news on Bros, Big Knife? No, I actually closed this swing trade. It's like this is just kind of rolling over here on Bros. Here's the, if we go back, you know what? Let me get the actual better daily chart in here. I only had one good sale on this. The rest was just for like, I think like 15%. I had 1/3 of it. I sold at 70%. That's really where the trade ended up working. But here's what happened on Bros real quick. We're talking about possibly getting this gap to fill. We were able to get over that 50, and we really kind of got stopped at this 100. Once this started to come back in, close this trade off, this rolling back over to the 200. You might get another opportunity here, especially if this holds, depending on where this comes in on Bros. But for right now, kind of out of this one. This did work on the 200 EMA reclaim. I was hoping for some more, unfortunately.
Yeah. Lost a 50-day SMA yesterday, losing it some more today. Looking for support from the 220-day SMAs that are in the same area, just under 33. Thing is that we're kind of approaching a death cross here. Probably will happen, well, first the price has to go underneath those other two SMAs, and then it can pull the 50 down beneath the 200. So that's probably not going to happen until we see the price underneath the 200. I think if it continues to go down, maybe sometime this week, or I think next week is when we'd see the death cross if we get that price action.
And then conversely here, one thing to keep in mind about this 200-day, if it holds the 200-day, that could actually be a fairly decent setup for a long side trade. RSI is not overcooked here. If we hold this, I don't think this MACD goes negative and might even start to expand to the positive side again. Definitely going to watch that. 32.87. We're what 60 cents away from that here. Again, though, was really kind of hoping for some more juice on this one. Played it all right, got out there with the gain, but wanted more.
A couple of things. Don't rage quit, bro. We are speculating that's what the news halt is.
Yeah.
So we're just waiting to see if that's what happens.
Octo at VWAP right here.
Okay. Smoke Tuna mentioning SBC. Oops. Medical Group Holdings. That's okay. That's had a nice move up to. What is going on here?
On SBC, you said?
Yeah, this is up 73%.
And on volume here, did we have some news? Hewlett Packard? No.
Let's see. I think maybe there is something in that. What you were just saying. Nope. It just says that it jumped.
Yep. And I don't have any squawk on this one. Let me just reload that just to make sure. Yeah.
Let's see. How old is this stock anyway? Seems like there's not a whole lot here. Yeah.
No. I wish I had better info on this one for you. Smoke Tuna, you were just mentioning a volume pop here. That actually looked pretty good. Volume pop anyway.
I'm not sure what's going on with this. I don't even have a read on their balance sheet or anything.
SBC's halted. So let me see if I can turn Charlie on here.
Lunar reclaimed VWAP coming back up. Maybe it gets another run going here, but be careful because the MACD is showing that it's trying to roll over still. All right, and after that new home sales print that showed new home sales down completely in the opposite direction of what the expectations were, hasn't really led to a market sell-off yet.
And real quickly here are your stats for that. I don't know if we gave these out yet. U.S. new home sales for August, 716,000 versus the 699,000 estimate. So that number's a little bit hot there. Prior read was 751, revised from 739. U.S. new home sales month over month for August, minus 4.7 versus the positive 10.3 read that was revised down slightly from 10.6. So big fall off there in new home sales. I guess we would expect this, right? If rates are just starting to get cut and we anticipate that rates are going to continue to get cut, wouldn't you wait on that new home sale?
Crude a draw of 4.47.
I think
million
we're getting
versus a draw of 1.3 million expected.
We're getting the squawk come across the feed here.
7 million versus a draw of 2.2 million.
Oh, you guys hear it?
And gasoline a draw.
I don't. So you guys hear mine?
Versus a build of 200,000 expected.
That is so weird. I don't hear anything. Do you not hear it anymore?
I don't hear it right now. I don't know if he's done talking or not. But anyway, we were hearing that. I don't even remember what the point was. So this is kind of in line with what we were talking about yesterday about how this year is shaping up to be the slowest year for existing home sales. I think the housing market was hoping for a lift because you have existing and the new home sales. New home sales also down now. So, it's shaping up to be the worst year for home sales in 30 years.
Yeah.
2024. News out for NMDM. What's going on?
Let me get that here. Nano Dimensions to acquire Marked Forge, creating a leading player in additive manufacturing with technologies expected to drive future growth. Cost, let me actually move this so I can actually read this here. The merging of Nano Dimensions with Desktop Metal and Mark Forge will have a scale and capital to drive profitable expansion with a combined 2023 revenue of $340 million. Cash and cash equivalents at the close, $475 million.
Okay, MKFG, that's the ticker in question. They said that they're picking it up for $5 a share. It is currently halted right now. So I don't want to do this, but you could try to get that before it unhalts and rockets to 5. But that's likely where this is going to go as soon as it unhalts.
I mean, this might open at 5. I don't know that there's a trade here unless you were already in this. Yeah.
Home affordability, highest ever, according to Charlie. I think that's absolutely wrong. Home affordability is the highest ever?
That doesn't sound right at all to me, especially given the real estate experts that we've been talking to.
Yeah.
Charlie's good too. I'm not trying to disparage the guy. I follow him. He's got a whole bunch of great stats. I've retweeted stats from him, so I don't think that's a him. I just disagree. I don't think that's correct. Or I wonder what he's using in that. Octo here, right at the VWAP. Maybe this is getting ready to roll. VKTX being mentioned by Shaka.
Mm-hmm.
Still really like Dennis's comment here. Low 50s. This is a buy. 70s is a sell. And you just play that back and forth.
Yeah, and this is the one that remember we talked about how there's that upcoming catalyst that JP Morgan's on about with this one. They're going to have a obesity week in San Antonio and in November. So if you're going to make a decision on whether or not to get in ahead of that, you have until November 1st to get in. That'll be the Friday, November 1st, and then the obesity week happens that weekend and into the beginning of next week. So that's going to be on Catalyst Watch. Keep that in the back of your mind, or on paper if you plan on trading this. Just a little PSA there.
Okay. This is interesting. Market Sniper Hardcore Enterprises has announced that its client SBC Medical Group has started trading on NASDAQ with ticker SBC. Isn't that HTCR?
We traded that yesterday.
I still own Hardcore.
No.
Hardcore Enterprises. This is it.
Yeah, you're right. I was thinking of the one we traded yesterday, which was Heart Test Laboratories. So I was thinking.
Hardcore Go IPO client SBC Medical Group begins trading on the NASDAQ.
Slim is the ticker for the obesity ETF.
Is it really?
They come up with some pretty interesting tickers. Remember, like the cybersecurity ETF is like Hack. There's another one called Bug. They're so clever.
Yeah.
Jay Rice saying that VKTX had a positive note on this morning.
Yeah, it did.
They put out some more.
Yeah, it did.
Okay, they put out some more information. Not showing my news feed. It must have been somewhere else. Anyway, what else are we looking at now? What's T-Non doing? T-Non hit 595, coming back in underneath the web at the moment. This is probably going to come in a little bit more too. Maybe how far down? Not sure. I think our first level support is going to be around 475. Octo, this one just got over VWAP. Watch for some movement here.
That was actually a really good. So was Tuna on that one? Yeah, Tuna here. Octo a few minutes ago had the setup right before it moved.
Float number for SBC. Let's see if I can pull that up here.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ryan. House prices compared to wages is wild. Definitely far from the most affordable they've ever been. I completely agree.
280,000 shares in the float for SBC. That's from FinBiz. All right, so Octo, you gonna get moving again now that you're above VWAP, or are you gonna come back beneath it? And what else are we looking at, folks? Looks like ELYM found a bottom around 603, coming back up, recapturing VWAP right now. MU Micron that hit a new high just a moment ago at 95.90.
Which one? Which one?
Micron.
Oh, MU, and that's got earnings tonight.
Yep, probably going to rally, and maybe it pulls a bit in the, toward the close. That's something I'd be watching for. Looks like Lunar really coming back now. That's looking good.
Yes, zero.
Had a pop, and then it moved down and got VWAP support. Now it's coming back up. Looking for another test of that 817 intraday high that we got here. What else we see in here?
Flutter. That's going to be FanDuel's website.
Looks like Octo is starting to get going here.
Yeah. Yeah, not in it for this trade, unfortunately, on Octo.
You're still green on the day, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Swing account actually getting a hit here. Let's see, what is it? Portillo's, that's normal. What's Palantir doing today? I don't feel like we haven't really looked at Palantir. Palantir down 0.5%. That's nothing. Google's getting hit. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. HTCR, wasn't there a special write-off or something that we were waiting for on HTCR?
Oh gosh, if there was one something like that, I don't recall. Let's see the Palantir. Well, it's not over 70 RSI anymore, but seeing as how every time that as of late, since the summer basically, every time it has these rallies and then it kind of sells off a little bit, it's always getting some support or reclaiming the 20-day SMA. The first one was a pretty far drop, but then it reclaimed it like 2 days later. Second time, just underneath the 20-day SMA, then gapped up above it. So I'd be looking at the 20-day SMA for some support, and if not at the 20-day SMA, then maybe just beneath it.
Palantir here, if this consolidated right up in here, let's call it between 36 and 37, this would be great. This would be great for the RSI. This would really kind of set the stage for another leg up, frankly. Palantir. By the way, Octo's going literally, like, as I know we were just kind of charting off Palantir here. Octo, where are you, Octo?
Got as high, it looks like, as 459.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like the MACD's curling to the upside. It looks like it's going to try and test it at the very least. The 486 might go above it. I don't want to make that call, but it could.
JJ asking, does it break the high of the day? Let's figure it out. Let's go. We're going to ask the 8-ball. 8-ball is going to give us all of the answers, folks. Let's see. 8-ball right here. What was his question? Does Octo break the high of day? Don't count on it. JJ, I don't know, man. Doesn't look like Octo's got it in it, according to this grade. We'll see if the 8-ball is correct and if the 8-ball can catch a heater. JJ likes that.
ASTS found the bottom. Let's see.
Okay. CAPR just flagging that looks like that might be done.
Well, ASTS is actually getting support from the 50-day SMA, and it has not had a visit of the 50-day SMA since May 15th. So this is it seems like this is a pretty important level for ASTS. I'd like to see this try to reverse here, but I don't know if it's going to happen right away. This is the level where it does that kind of just start turning around. So it's not going to happen today. I just wait and see what happens. If we start to lose the 50, then we can talk about how there might be some support around 20 where there's consolidation.
Okay. DXCM. Who? Anyone on Lyft? Someone was on Lyft yesterday. This higher again here today.
Well, Carmen, I mean, this could be a good spot where it bounces. I mean, like I said, the 50-day SMA, haven't had a touch on that in a long time. This could provide the support, but I don't want to say that this is where the support is. I want to see some confirmation of that. But hey, if it is, you got a great price. All right, so what else are we looking at here, folks? Looks like Bitcoin is looking for 64K again. It's been in kind of a triangle. Well, not so much. Maybe just getting resistance from a downtrend line. Needs to break out over 65K, in my opinion, on Bitcoin. Grab is the China Uber. I mean, that's not a great ticker for
Sorry.
for a car company. Yes, this thing has been on a tear. Got an RSI of 76. Might be topping out here pretty soon. Not sure about this one.
Sorry for handling some things here on the side.
No worries. I'm just trying to find some other
Okay.
setups.
Okay,
here.
I'm back. Octo pulling back after that little move. CAPR just kind of trading sideways. WVE at the highs.
Yeah. Easy Java. Yeah, I know. China DD. I don't want to even get into that one. I felt bad for everybody who listened to Kramer that day. One of the reasons why I don't listen to him.
Yeah, I mean, you get some right. Really quick, I don't know. Really quickly here, just to answer this question. EWM community asking, why is NNDM halted? This is halted for news pending. We actually got the news. It's still halted here. Here it is. Nano Dimension and Marked Forge have entered into a definitive agreement pursuant to which Nano Dimensions will acquire all outstanding shares for $5 in cash. So what was that ticker again?
NMDM.
MKFG is the ticker that's being acquired. Okay. That is also still halted, correct. We'll have the scale and capital to drive profitable expansion with a combined 2023 revenue of $340 million. Cash and cash equivalents are expected to close at $475 million. So that's why this is halted. I don't know necessarily what's going to happen when this opens. Again, the other stock at play here, ticker MKFG, that is a buyout price of 5.
Looks like CAPR really wants to reclaim VWAP, but it is just not happening for it. It keeps getting slapped down.
Yeah, and Amanda, this is basically what I was trying to say when I really couldn't spit it out. And it's tough, too, because I really don't want to appear hypocritical. Amanda here saying, I feel bad for people to listen to Kramer most days. If you don't have your own trading style and thesis, you're going to get ripped apart trading somebody else's convictions. And this is 100% true. The only caveat that I would say here is that, this doesn't necessarily mean that you can't take stock tips from people. I mean, hell, our entire show is about calling movers and sharing tips and sharing information. But Amanda's really hitting on a key point here. If, use that information to generate a thesis or to have your own thought and then be able to trade off that as opposed to just kind of waiting for somebody else. Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one. I've taken big losses, like on the order of like 30K on stocks that I've bought because someone else really, really liked it and it just didn't work out. That's part of the game. But the larger part here, get your own style, thesis, and convictions. It's going to make everything easier.
Yep. Let me see here.
Carmen's saying NNDM doesn't have anything but a boatload of cash. Well, could be worse. Could be worse.
And they were a SPAC. I believe they were a SPAC. Pretty sure they were a SPAC.
Yeah, I think that they were.
I'm trying to answer this question here about what the expectation might be for tomorrow with GDP. And we also get jobless claims. We get durable goods orders. Good amount of economic reports. Powell speaks tomorrow, apparently.
So that should be a laugh riot.
Jobless claims as well. Lots of things happening. As far as GDP goes, I think that the numbers would probably hold up to the estimates, if not maybe beat them. But I don't know if that's going to be the case going forward. That's based on because we had a pretty good summer, I thought. Retail sales were pretty good. I think they're at least better than expectations, is what I mean. So I can't really speak too much to GDP. I think it might come in within estimations, but I don't know about going forward.
Really quickly, MKFG Marked Forge, that is open, instantly went to 480. So this is, like I was saying, these you got to be in these prior to them happening. Congrats to anybody that had this. If anyone did have this, got your buyout news there in the morning. Good stuff. Thinking about it, this is an interesting comment here. Market may love the earnings, even if they're not great. So what he means there is that Micron might trade up here just to keep the market up.
It's starting to shape up that with every single thing that gets put in the way of that could potentially take the market down, we just pass through it and it's on to the next thing, and the market doesn't do anything, or it just goes up higher. I'm really thinking that it's just going to end up being what we've been discussing in happy hour chat, where maybe it's just until these new IPOs come out, they're just going to have all the big names, all the investors and institutions just hiding out in these Mag 7.
There is no try mentioning that Vuzi is up 6% since the interview that we did here yesterday. I got to be honest with you. Even after that interview was over, I went the rest of the day thinking about how awesome it would be to have smart glasses that would automatically read greens and track shots for me when I'm playing golf. So this would be something that I would throw my money at if this worked well when it came out. Man, oh man, I let my imagination run wild yesterday.
Yeah, so there's another glasses company that's digital glasses company called, and we've talked about it before.
Lucy,
they
right?
sell, LUCY. They sell their products at Target.
Yeah, I got that mixed up. I thought it was his that were at Target, Vuzi's that were at Target, but Vuzi and Lucy. All right. So looking at just kind of doing a general market here. Looks like we're kind of rolling over from those. So 13, wasn't this what you talked about needed to happen, right? You needed to have that up move first and then have it roll over to engulf all those candles. So
didn't say that we really needed it. This was I was looking at. I mean, I thought that we could, open higher. We didn't open higher, but we did trade higher. So there was that box checked. But yeah, now we're kind of selling off. Now the thing that I was saying is that I'd be looking for today's candle to engulf the past 3 trading days, the green ones. And there are a lot of people brought up great points about why that might not happen, and I don't disagree. I'm just waiting to see if this pattern that it pointed out as a mat hold, a bearish mat hold, let's see if it ends up doing what these patterns are supposed to do. And if not, then we can say, okay, that didn't end up working out. Let's look to what could happen next.
Well, not over yet. I mean, it's still the morning here. We are rolling over here on the SPY. Actually, looks like we're doing the same thing on the Qs. Whoever was asking about Google earlier, this is really what we need. We need to accelerate some more to the downside here on the Qs. That should take Google with it. Smoke Tuna calling Tinon here, as this does look like this bounced off. I've got this at the 200 EMA on the 1 minute. I beg your pardon.
Yeah, it looks like it got a little bit of support from those highs in the after we opened, and now it's just turning around. Octo kind of sideways. Looks like it wants to try to go higher, but needs volume. A lot of these are needing volume right now. It's getting a little bit light in the market.
NNDM is open.
Okay.
So it looks like that was a wild candle. Looks like that went up to 220 and all the way down to 240. I guess is this really only spread 6 cents? I mean, that's insane. That candle looked huge. It's a 6 cent range. Wake up, Ryan. Come on. Maple Bear Instacart at the highs. Nook, someone was mentioning this yesterday. This was a penny stock play from yesterday. Okay. Reddit at 68. That baffles me.
Crow mentioning that there's been some great trades at Power Out. Some of those that we were trading yesterday, like a good handful of them, ended up coming back in Power Hour. Absolutely. So sometimes with these, if they look kind of weak out the open and they don't really do a whole lot, just keep them on your radar. They might end up basing, throughout the day and start to curl up. They usually go back to VWAP if they give you that price action. So it's, to his point, there is some good trading in some of these names in power hour that we were looking at this in the morning.
CAPR looks like this is trying to break out of its consolidation on that 1 minute.
Yep.
Let's see what the 5 minute looks like. Same deal.
Yep, this is a little bit higher than those other wicks it's been getting after trying to break over VWAP. This one looks a little bit more robust. It has to get through 1120, where there's a huge wall of sell orders. We do that, could take it up to 1155. Lunar got a nice move up to about 812, coming back in, still above VWAP.
How are we doing on some of these other Mag 7 stocks? Was just looking through some of the unusual options there. Looked like Meta had a little. It's right up here at 570 on Meta. LDX Therapeutics, what's going on with CLDX here?
Just Apple and Amazon are down today, and not by much. All Mag 7s could end up turning positive. Safer entries to the flush has already happened, probably. That's for CAPR. Is that what you're referring to, Pro? Or is this TNON? Wow, look at this. Here we go, CAPR. Take it up to, it got through that wall of sell orders. Now let's see if it goes up to 1155.
Wow, that did move. I shouldn't have taken this one. Yeah, I shouldn't have taken this one off. That was stupid.
There will be others.
Yep. Nope. You guys we just had a nice little setup there. A few more minutes left here, and we're going to turn it over to Zunaid for story trading. Ooh. We got some more stuff to finish off here, though, first.
Well,
Saba ripping today.
Geez. Well, if there's anything else that we can take a look at before we split, tell me what to look at. I think I'm just going to kind of wait for something else to set up. I don't see anything I'm interested in at the moment. I think with CAPR, if I got in here, I'd be chasing. Yeah. CLDX. Let's see what up with CLDX.
Yeah, real quickly here, Amanda, this is an interesting question. Do we think the August pullback is what's keeping us from getting our September slump? I don't trust these moves up, but they seem to prove me wrong every day. You're not alone, Amanda. I felt the same way here. We've been waiting for this seasonality to kick in. Just hasn't yet. Not to say that it can't, but so far it hasn't yet. I think Jay Rice has been saying, yeah, we did pull back recently. That is the pullback. I don't know what you guys are waiting for.
So CLDX, this thing is just falling as we speak here. And the only news that I see was results from a 52-week study, phase 2 study. It doesn't seem like the market really likes these results. I haven't read into this, so I don't know exactly what they're not liking here, but that appears to be what the problem is with this today. CLDX doesn't appear to have the most favorable phase 2 data news.
James asking about Apple. Didn't we get more reports of the iPhone cycle not being, the stock was more than they had, they had, the demand wasn't there. I don't know why that's so difficult for me to say. Let me see if I can actually read it here to you.
Of phones within China up. Well, hold on.
Those were Chinese phones, right? Those shipments of the Chinese. Here we go. Apple's iPhone 16 lead times track below past 3 cycles. So you're getting a couple of different bearish reports here on the iPhone 16. There was one earlier that I was seeing was that it would be, people seemed here. iPhone 16 Pro Max camera fails to top the global rankings chart. Huawei rules the roost. I don't know about that.
Foreign phone sales in China slumped 12.7% in August. Yeah.
Shipments of phones within China are up 26.7. Those are going to be those Chinese brands, the Huawei. So I don't know. I mean, look, my thought here is that every time I've seen some of these channel checks and all that stuff on Apple, the stocks ended up going higher every single time. So until that doesn't work, I'm going to try that though. Keep in mind, I'm long this name as an investment for over a decade at this point. Split adjusted, I think my cost basis is 20. So just keep that in mind when we're talking about some of these. I'm certainly not selling any Apple on these headlines. That's for sure.
Yeah, they've announced like a foldable iPhone that could probably turn things around.
Which I still don't understand that. Someone's going to have to give me the bull case on that. Yeah, like the trifold phone. Like, who wants that?
Well, look, you got to look at what is popular right now, and those have been gaining market share. Especially even the Samsung Z Folds, those have been gaining market share. It's gaining appeal. It's a larger screen. I get there's a crease in it. I don't personally like that. Some of the people apparently are okay with it, but it's a rising preference in cell phones. So if you look at with the increase in sales over time with these foldables, you start to see that this is where the demand is headed.
Yeah, thinking about it, saying that these are popular in China. Indeed, that is. Tiny Pie is saying, I heard Zunaid is really good at gambling. He'll have to give us some gambling tips. I'll be honest, the last couple of weekends I've been cleaned out on my NFL betting. It's not been great. Did I say really good? I meant the opposite. Oh, Tiny Pie meant really bad. I see. We're just trolling Zunaid at this point. Got it.
Yeah, I've checked out those foldables, and I think they're interesting. I would like a larger screen that I can kind of fold up and put in my pocket. But that whole thing with the crease, I just can't get past it, and I know it's going to drive me nuts every time I look at the screen. I'm like, there it is again.
Yeah.
So until they get that ironed out, it's just not for me. But I think it's going to continue to get better and better, and eventually we all might end up with some kind of foldable.
Urine Ramos, I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce this. YRN Ramos. Octo's been really making me a lot of money today. That's awesome. Registering. Time to log off and go to class. You're out here making money before class. What an absolute boss. You just love to hear this. You have yourself a good day too. Thanks for joining us here. Octo, looks like Octo paid everybody in the chat room here today. So let's go. We had multiple trades on this one here this morning.
Yeah.
Hey, we were just talking about you. How is your gambling game going?
I would like to say I'm going to be working here for a while, so I haven't retired off top of it. It's been going well. I think I'm down maybe about $1,000 over the past 4 days. I'm in North Carolina at the moment, and I deposited money in like FanDuel, DraftKings, MGM, Caesars, Bet365, all of that. And I'm okay with being down just 1,000. I'm okay with that. I think it's okay. I think it's fine.
Okay. So you're down. So Tiny Pie is out here trolling you. I got it.
Because I sent an Excel spreadsheet that had 50 of my bets tracked, right? Because look, it's important to track your trades and journal those. It's important for me to track my bets as well to see what's working, what's not working. And there's a lot of things that are not working, Ryan.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me twice. Like I said, I actually had week 0 of college. I ended up banking like $350 off like $10 bets. I cashed multiple we out here cashing lays, baby. So I cashed a couple of parlays. The last 2 weeks I've just blown through that. I got completely obliterated. I did bet on the Packers to win, so you guys should love that. That was a triple up because I had some odds boost in there. But man, it's been tough. So what do we got coming up here, Zunaid? Sorry, I just ran you right into the time.
No, you're all good. Look, we've got story trading coming up now. So we've got Ben, Godfather, and also Rhett coming on to talk some trading. Of course, we'd love to get their insights, a different way to look at the markets as well. So some exciting stuff. And yeah, we'll get ripping through here. And then Ryan, I'll see you in a little conference call that we have here in about 5 minutes. So
sounds good.
13. Any final thoughts from you, pal?
Oh, hey, you know what, guys? It's been a great day. If you have, been taking profits and you're having a good day like some of these other folks, go outside, touch some grass, see the sun, say hi, and then I'll see you tomorrow.
I will say the touching grass part is very important because when I was down in sports betting, I was like, I just got to go outside. I went outside. I felt great, came back, lost some more. It's okay. But I did feel good momentarily.
So you took your shoes and your socks off. You did some of that grounding where you walk on the earth. I totally get it. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but it was good for me to kind of just feel there. But all right.
Have fun on story trading, boys.
Will do. Take care. Ben, give me a thumbs up whenever you're ready. Okay, sorry. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you? A little under the weather, so I'm going to have to lean on my colleagues a little bit. It's a little tough to talk, but yeah, thank God. I'm here. We're ready. We're going to have some fun.
Well, you and I as well. I've got to lean on man. Aaron Thomas is going to be producing in the background. But let me go and bring on the Godfather and Rhett as well, along with your charts. Fellas, before I go, between the three of you, who's a good sports gambler before we talk stocks?
I want to say I'm the best, but I'm doing pretty good.
Are you profitable?
Yeah, just because of my buddies.
No, I don't know. That confidence kind of shook me. Nah, I don't know. Godfather, what about you?
No, it's not an area I play in.
All right, fair enough. Sticking to the markets where you make money, Ben.
All right.
Cool. All yours. See ya.
Let's go. Take care. All right, what's up, folks? It's been a difficult week, I think, for trading ever since that the big cut we got from the Fed. I got to be honest with you, at least for our day trading. Someone asked what's story trading. We'll talk about it in a second. But we're like focused on day trading in August when the market was down. But now swing trading maybe a little bit better than day trading. I'll take it. I'll take the market going up, and I'll take the liquidity injection in the States and in China because 95% of my account's long term. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. My trading a little bit challenged, a lot of chop going around. Let's just quickly talk about. I'm going to throw out the names that's on our radar today, and then we'll pass it on to the Godfather here. MU, one of the top picks this morning. Earnings coming out this afternoon on our show we had this morning. Oh, someone asked, what is story trading? Yeah, story trading. We have a Discord community. Our whole shtick, everything we do here is based on the idea that there's a story behind the stock, meaning there's a reason why stock is priced where it is. If you think it's quote unquote undervalued or overvalued, or if it's having a big move either way, there's a logical, identifiable reason for that. I call that market efficiency. A lot of people call market efficiency something else, but I call that market efficiency, right? And because we believe in that sort of market efficiency, we're able to capitalize on rapid re-ratings of stocks when we have a delta of information. Because if yesterday's closing price was the correct price and you have a delta of information today, well, then you can predict a rapid re-rating in the stock. And we do that based on analysis of catalysts, sentiment, fundamentals, and technicals. So we take a catalyst, we say, what's the impact of this catalyst on sentiment? What's the impact of this catalyst on fundamentals? And if it's a net positive or a net negative, we take that interpretation. Then we look at the chart and triangulate with the technicals to come up with a trade plan. That's story trading in a nutshell. Part of our community, we have the Godfather here, his handle there, S Mantle. You can follow him. His more steep in the fundamental side, but we work really well together. He also looks at catalysts very strongly and the impact the catalyst has on fundamentals. So we got a good team going on here. Today, one of the top picks in our community, MU. MU has earnings tonight. And I made a kind of prediction this morning that, first of all, for the last 2-3 days, we've had this on our radar as a top pick, as an event anticipation run towards that 50 DMA by the close today. 50 DMA is at 98.39. I actually think that may not even be out of the question for today. But I think something else here. Look at this thing, down from 157 to 95 or whatever. Analysts have been cutting their price targets like crazy over the last couple months, but they still have buys. They still have overweights. They just like cut their price targets from like 150 to 120, for example, something like that. They got big AI tailwinds, but some concern about pricing in the non-AI memory business. I think tonight for MU, all you have to do is meet estimates. You don't even need to beat. I think if you meet estimates, the stock explodes. I'm going to pause there, get the Godfather's feedback on that. I know you entered the trade as well today.
Yeah, so I've actually been picking away at it around this 90 level, which looks like a good level on the charts. But like you said, I focus more on the fundamentals. And, here you have a name that's trading around 10 times, 25 earnings. So yes, there's been some market consternation, and there's been some concern about NAND and DRAM pricing, which is still the bulk of the business here. But there is a ramp in HBM, high bandwidth memory, and it's this relationship with NVIDIA that's the focus of the market. And that's really what's going to drive sentiment, which is really what's going to drive multiples from here. And so I think there's some real support at 10 where we're at. So it seems like an asymmetric risk reward. If you extend that out on an EV to sales basis, you're under 3, and on an EV EBITDA basis, you're under 20. So it's reasonable valuations across the board. You're going to see HBM go 5x from what we saw in the previously reported quarter going into Q1 2025. They're completely sold out in all of 24 and 25. I know the market, when they reported last quarter, was a little bit, they were sitting there going, well, why have you contracted all of this out when you're completely sold out? That's just the way the nature of this business and the way it works. And it's a cyclical business ultimately, which is another reason why I like this trade, because cyclicals obviously respond well when you get interest rate cuts. So, this is an extremely cheap call on AI, which is where the growth and sentiment drivers for the multiple are going to come from. And just look at top line here. If you look at consensus estimates, you're looking at an almost 50% increase from 25 over 24. So it strikes me as a good risk reward here around the $90 level. I own the common and I own some $90 strike calls. Some of that is from my trading bucket, and some of that is building a long-term position. So that's my take on Micron from a fundamental standpoint.
Awesome. Sounds good. I will be selling some before. I already did shave off. I'll be selling some before the close today. Come into the earnings report. Rhett, feel free to jump in anytime, or if there's any comments you want to bring it to our attention, let us know. I see there was a comment about Intel.
Yep.
So Intel, did I write a 4-pillar trade card on Intel? I don't remember. If I did, maybe not.
I don't think so.
But we were swinging. We put it as a swing, I believe, on Friday. So I've been swinging Intel for this the 50 DMA target. It broke the 50 DMA here at 23.18. Obviously, the catalyst was Qualcomm on Friday, circling Intel for a buyout. Then Monday morning, we had Apollo Management all over the weekend that they may want to be investing some money into Intel. We broke this 23 level. I saw some resistance at like 24.20, so I actually exited. I had some swing call options on Intel, and it was around 24.16. What was the high of the day? 24.06. Yeah. So I'm actually all out Intel. I don't necessarily think this trade is over from a fundamental perspective, but as far as a trade, a swing trade, catalyst-oriented swing trade, I took my exit here. Any comments on that, Godfather?
Yeah, it's not a trade that I'm involved in. There's just there's too many moving pieces. It's too hard to value from a fundamental standpoint for me. I get the near-term excitement about something happening here, whether it involves Qualcomm or whether it involves a private equity firm or what have you. But it's too noisy, and I think the bigger money sort of gets made when you can position yourself in a longer-term trend, and I just don't see that with Intel. I can see that with some of the other AI hardware names. But it just doesn't take that.
The one thing that I do like about Intel, though, is that there seems to be a big, I think at this point, bipartisan push to bring as much semiconductor manufacturing into the States as possible. And you see the government keeps pouring money into Intel. I don't know. Is that a factor for you?
Again, I just don't see a direction here. I mean, I think it's a good trading stock. I just don't think it's a good investment.
Okay. Look at MU surging. Sorry.
Yeah, where something like MU, I like it both as a trade and a potential long-term hold. So
beautiful.
It's a clear possible trend.
Wow, wouldn't that be crazy if we hit my target from the morning show this morning? 98.39. Let's see if we get it. All right. So that would be beautiful. I'm not in Intel at this point anyway. I'm out of that now. Rocket Labs, man, I own this long-term. Obviously not enough. This has been a crazy move to a 52-week high. I did not see any recent catalysts. I don't know if you did, Godfather, but because I haven't even seen it.
It's been on my list to revisit the fundamentals, but the folks that traffic in the space, if you will, a lot, are clearly pointing to the fact that, SpaceX is by far the market leader, but people want alternatives. Second suppliers, if you will, and Rocket Lab is the clear number 2. So there's a lot of traction to their business with their new rocket engine. I believe it's Neutron in 2025. So the amount of business from governments globally for these guys is just growing exponentially. So I think I can't speak specifically to the fundamentals on a valuation basis because I've yet to revisit that, but clearly there's a lot of tension on space these days, and there's a dearth of publicly listed companies. You've got some that seem to move around on potential large contracts. I'm thinking of LUNR, for example, and then you got the others that seem to be presenting long-term investment cases, and in that I would throw ASTS and I would throw Rocket Lab, and obviously SpaceX if it were public. But yeah, beyond that, it's a capital intensive business, and there really aren't a lot of public choices either. So you're going to get some.
Well, I'm tempted. There must be a catalyst out there. I don't know. This is a crazy move to do without a catalyst. Maybe it's some
for Rocket Labs. It'd be they tweeted out a big update last night.
Rocket
Labs announced Electron low Earth orbit mission on Friday.
So
that's what this whole move is on.
That's what I'm saying. There's always a reason. There's always a story behind the trade. Things just don't move randomly, not in my opinion anyway. But in any case, I was going to say I'm tempted to sell my position up 10% with no news. But with news, maybe I'll keep it. Okay, pretty cool. You mentioned, we'll get to RCAT in a second. ASTS, man, I've been trying to bottom pick this thing. It hasn't worked out really well. But now we trying to bounce off the 50 DMA here. A little disappointing. What do you think, Godfather?
ASTS?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think there was a great opportunity to be trading it when it was showing some defined moves. Down at this level, I hold it just in my long-term bucket. I haven't been trading it of late. Part of that has been distracted with other things, but also,
you got lucky. You got lucky. I've been trying to pick the bottom in my trading account for the past week, and it hasn't worked out.
All indications are that they are where they need to be in terms of orbit, and I see the level of granularity by FinTwit on this is just incredible. So you can get all you can eat in terms of guys that are tracking, resistance moves in the satellites, suggesting that unfurling is about to begin. I mean, it's incredible the amount of information and expertise that's out there on this name, but it's a lot of noise. I'd like to take a step back at this point and just focus on the fact that this should be, I think, in everybody's long-term hold account, because this is a recurring revenue business. After the initial capex of getting this launched, everyone, whether they need it or not, will probably end up paying that extra $10 a month to ensure that they don't have a single dead spot anywhere in the globe for cell service and high-speed bandwidth. So, high-speed bandwidth being delivered through space is clearly the future. These guys are clearly the leader. And look, when you've got 50, 60 of the top MNOs, mobile network operators in the world selling your product, you are effectively the American Tower of space. I would encourage anyone to pull up a long-term chart of AMT. That should get you reoriented in terms of where your perspective should be on ASTS going forward. And
I want to bounce something off that too. It's just crazy to think about, because the other day when I went fishing in the Bahamas, we had Starlink on the boat, and we're in the middle of absolutely nowhere, and we had cell service. So it's one of those things. It's like we had perfect reception and everything in the middle of the ocean, not near anything, and it's just crazy. So it's one of those things that I think is really going to be in the future. That's going to be huge.
You can really get chopped up trying to trade this thing. Everybody's focused.
You know what? It worked for us pretty well after ER and leading up to the launch. Looking for that pullback entry after the launch been a little hard for me, but I'm not giving up. Look, I have this belief, and it doesn't always work out, that the long-term technical trend lines is reflective of a fundamental reality, and the 50 DMA is very important. So to me, if nothing has changed fundamentally, by the way, you've convinced me on the fundamentals based on your research and other research I did. It's my third largest position in my retirement account right now. But if nothing's changed fundamentally, I don't think you break below the 50 DMA. Something has to change, either macroeconomically or something specific with the company, and that's what gives me conviction I added, okay, I could lose my money again because I've been trying to bottom pick this for 2 weeks, but I added $25 calls for this week. Very risky. Oh, I also added next week's 25. Gives me a little breathing room. Right here at the 50 DMA, because I believe nothing has changed fundamentally, and therefore you're going to find dip buyers here at the 50 DMA. We'll see if that pans out, but it's been difficult. All right. RCAT, man, this has been disappointing today. Now, I was actually not surprised at all about yesterday's reaction. RCAT, because they missed on the headlines, and also, more importantly, on the conference call, the company pushed back the timeline for being notified about winning the SSR. It was expected they'd find out this week. They went on to say it's going to be October, maybe in the next few weeks. And I correctly predicted that would pressure the stock, but I thought it'd just be a one-day pressure and would bounce off the 50. So now we're below the 50. I can imagine people who are not paying close attention to this are looking at this today and are really, really worried. Godfather, I know you're very bullish on this still. Go ahead.
Yeah, look, sentiment is driving this thing near term while everyone speculates about whether they're going to win SRR or not. And, I think weakness is your friend here. If you have a position in this longer term, even if it sells off because they don't win SRR, I think you buy that dip because, fundamentally, you're talking about a company that's going from 30 to 55 million, or almost a 70% increase in top line. I can defend the value fundamentally at $3 plus, just based on their base business. And I'm talking about business that comes from law enforcement, border control, all the rest of it. It is no small feat to go through government approval process for the DoD, and to be down selected or shortlisted, however you want to call it, is meaningful. So by all accounts, they have the product. They are doing everything they can to scale. I think some are concerned that they've taken on this bridge debt, and if they don't win this contract, then where is it going to put them on a near-term liquidity, crunch basis? And certainly that's real. But I got to think that management would not have entered into this bridge. Again, it was a bridge for $8 million to get them to February, which is when development funds that would go along with a long-term contract would come in. But think of it from the standpoint of the lenders. Lind Global basically said, okay, yeah, we'll give you $8 million. You don't have to pay us any interest at all. Just start paying back principal in 6 months and give us 750,000 warrants struck at $6.50 for the next 5 years. That's good enough. These aren't dumb people. I don't think management would have strapped on all of this debt if they didn't have a good sense of confidence that they are going to win this contract or win some NATO contracts. And again, there's a slew of potential NATO contracts, which in total could be much larger than SRR. And look, there are other government programs beyond SRR as well, which of course is the near-term focus. So it's being driven by sentiment. The stock this morning is suggesting that they haven't won by the trade action, but I haven't seen anything to change my view, and I've been adding on this weakness. So reserve the right to be wrong, but if it goes down lower, I'll continue to be adding because I think there's a very, very high probability that they will win at least some NATO business going forward. Lots of talk about Russia joining up with China and expanding their drone warfare program. It's clear that loitering munitions via drones is the future of warfare. There are essentially no publicly listed drone companies of note or merit, beyond Granddaddy AVAV, which makes a different kind of product, and RCAT. So again, all attention will focus on this and the fundamentals, I think, once we get through the volatility of whether this is a near-term contract win or not.
By the way, we're at a key support here at $2.40. You can see the candle from September 9th. Low day was $2.40. We're right there at $2.40 right now. So if you're so adventurous enough here, this might be a great place intraday to pick some up. But man, it is a little bit scary looking at this price action. There was also a insider kind of post on LinkedIn from an industry expert yesterday that was shared in our community, suggesting that he's heard that the competitor Sky Dio has not won. So, you know, there was a lot of excitement in our community this morning based on that. And that hasn't really given the stock a bid today. But anyway, that piece of info is out there.
High risk, high reward. But look, the lower the stock goes, the more asymmetric this opportunity becomes.
Yeah. And if they do get some of these bigger words, you're talking about a multi-bagger probably in a very short time frame. Correct?
Yeah, the estimates for the SRR contract are between 400 and 600 million. I've heard all sorts of numbers, so I'm not sure how to peg that. But they did say it several times in the conference call that first year, which would be sort of May through September, could amount to about 80 million in revenue for the winner. And so, you know, add that to the 55 million that they guided to on their base business, and put a reasonable multiple on that, and I get a stock that's in excess of $8 a share.
And we're $2.40. So, yep, big opportunity there potentially. All right. What else am I looking at here? Oklo this morning didn't work out. I had this as a top pick here this morning because of uranium tailwinds, and then they got a little catalyst this morning. I think it just might be down because uranium's taking a breather. Let's take a look. Uranium stocks. No, actually not. URA is stable. So I don't know, just a stock that hasn't worked out today. Not every one of our picks are going to work out, but I haven't bailed on it for today yet. That's Oklo.
Can I just make one comment on that group?
Uranium.
Yeah. Just the whole. So look, the Microsoft Constellation deal drove a lot of excitement to power for data centers going forward, and I put out a big piece on this last night on my X feed that you can take a look at. But this happens every time we get excitement, and you've had Sundar Pichai and you had Larry Ellison, all talking about potentially using SMRs to power data centers. But the reality is that the SMR technology is still years out. There are only 4 functional SMRs on the planet. None of them are in the US. We're arguably 2 to 5 years or more before we get there. So as a result, these things are all heavily shorted. I'm talking about the SMR stocks, the NNE, the Oklo, the SMR, all the rest of it. They're all heavily shorted because they're all burning cash. But there's 3 ways to play this. You can play the IPPs, the independent power producers, the guys that are legitimately ahead of the meter, that aren't regulated, that have the opportunity to provide power to these things. And there's a few great listed companies there. We're talking VST, TLN, NEE. These are real companies that have real contracts with data centers and others that provide data through renewables, through nuclear, etc. So you can play it that way. Uranium, I think, is a great way to play it because you've got your own drivers there. Russia, which controls most of the feedstock, is threatening. There's a supply-demand issue there. You've got spot ETFs that have been sucking up a lot of the uranium. So there you can play it through the uranium guys, you can play it through the IPPs, or at the highest end of the risk spectrum, you play it through these super shorted SMRs. But look, the minute that attention moves to something else in the market, these things are all going to get crushed. So just keep that in mind. Sure, there are great trading vehicles, but they are not investable at this point.
All right. I have in my long-term URNM, which is a diversified ETF. There's also URA. As far as trading, I like to go for the highly shorted stuff as far as short-term trades on Catalyst go. But what was it that worked out really well for us the other day was SMR. Yeah, ticker symbol SMR worked out for us as a quick trade. Look at that big move. All right, let's. We're running short on time. I want to give a quick update on TSSI. So yesterday, I finally took some off the table. Not a lot. maybe 5 to 10% of my position, up well over 100% on this. We gave the buy signal on this between $2.70 and $3. Initial target 5, secondary target 7.25. We're up pretty close to it now. I didn't have the best exit yesterday on my 5 to 10% that I shaved off. It was somewhere here in the 620 range, already bouncing back. So the reason I took some off the table is because I listened to the conference call yesterday at a conference. I wasn't a conference call; it was like a investor conference, and there were two things. There were two things that kind of put me off a little bit. Doesn't change the long-term thesis. I'm still in it. I'm still like it. But there are two things that I thought maybe the stock's not going to appreciate that much more until the next earnings report. And those two things were they kept emphasizing lumpiness. They did that on the last conference call, but they doubled down on it, basically trying to warn people that the great results that are about to come in this quarter are not going to be sustainable. So when there are people out there doing the math on the earnings and they're putting a multiple on it, I think a lot of people may be forgetting about the lumpiness that they keep on warning about. And then the other thing is this big $50 million piece of business they're talking about that's coming in the coming quarter. I mean, it's going to look huge. They specifically went out of their way to say this is low margins, so don't expect like our EPS to explode or something like that was a comment they made yesterday. So I'm like, you know what? Thesis is still intact. It's still, I think, cheap, but maybe based on that conference call, we're not going to see this continue to surge. Now, I've been wrong since then, but I did take some off the table. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Godfather.
Yeah, I have queued up to watch that presentation because I didn't get the opportunity to do so. But look, I'm in the stock long term, so I'm not worried about day to day. And if we get a big spike to the upside, I will trim some to trade around that position. If we get a big dip, I'll look to add to the position. But longer term, the drivers are here. There's certainly enough anecdotal evidence that the market is large enough, and there's enough issues going on with some of the incumbent big players to see additional business get shifted, through the Dell pipeline, which is essentially, the sales funnel for TSSI. TSSI is essentially a Dell, platinum partner, if you will, to sustain this business for years to come. So investing is hard. Trading is even harder. And if you can do it with a big macro tailwind in a situation that gives you what I think is, the greatest leverage, you can play it through Dell, or you can play it through SMCI, or you can play it through VRT. But you're not going to get the kind of leverage that you'd get from a small company like TSSI. So,
yep. And this continues to be my largest position in my retirement account. Just shave some off here. Have not been actively trading this, so it is also a long-term position for me. We just got a few seconds left, so I just want to mention we're not going to be able to get to everything. I wanted to touch on Summit Therapeutics and IMRX and VKTX, these three big biotechs. Doesn't look like we have time for that. So if you want to be part of our community and discuss all this and everything else that we have is storytrading.com/Discord. You can also go to storytrading.com/TheGodfatherKnows or visit the Godfather S Mantle to join through his links on his X account. Any final words there, Rhett or Godfather?
No final words.
All right. You got anything, Godfather?
Well, I wanted to make some macro comments, but I don't think we have time. All I'll say is that do expect that this market will have some digestion. Multiples are high. Generally, our earnings aren't going anywhere, but the Fed put is in place. So, but keep some powder because there are going to be down days. I know the market has been extremely resilient. The VIX is not telling you that there's anything to be afraid of and all the rest of it, but prevailing market narratives have a way of getting turned on their heads. So, do expect that, we could see some 3 to 4% down days. And if you don't have powder for those days, you're going to regret selling more on days when the market is strong. So keep taking profits all the way up on things. there will be some opportunities to buy a lot of these names cheaper again, and make sure you're in a position to do so.
Yeah, and look at that while we wait for Benzinga to kick us off. Look at this till. I started researching it a little bit. Man, did we miss this one? There's that Summit Therapeutics sympathy play. The market cap is only 456 million compared to 17 billion for Summit Therapeutics. This chart is just beautiful. I can't believe it's held its gains like this. I guess it's because the market cap started off so freaking low, but they're so early. They're like phase 1A or phase 1, something like that, whereas Summit is in phase 3. So I don't know. I'd rather pay 17 billion for phase 3 than $500 million for phase 1.
I'd rather buy IMRX with a much smaller market cap. That's just me. So a data funnel that we know is going to continue to produce. We don't know exactly what the data points are going to be, but we do know that these small biotechs rely on a couple of things. They rely on the XBI or LA ABU to continue to be strong, to provide a good backdrop. But B, and most importantly, they rely on continued news flow. So I think you're going to continue to get that from IMRX. The big boys on the street all cover this thing, which is crazy to me. It's a 60, 65, $70 million market cap company with 50, 60 million in cash. Yes, they're burning through it. But don't rely on what I'm saying here. The guys with science backgrounds that cover this for the large investment houses, and it's all the blue chip investment houses, all have target prices that are in the double digits for this. So this is pancreatic cancer. It's the most deadly cancer around. There's an incredible market focus on this. And I think there's something to be read into the market action, which is that every time there is a major dip in this, it immediately gets bought back up. So I think the market's telling you something. It's been a tremendous trader for our community. I think we've made some good trading calls on both entry and exit on this thing. But again, look at this chart when you zoom out. What is it doing? It's going from bottom left to upper right. So this is a classic example of something I like to hold in my account. It is the only small cap. Well, it's not the only one. CRVS, I'm also extremely bullish on. Those are the only two small cap biotechs that I own in both my trading portfolios as well as my long-term portfolio. And it's a great one to own a core position in and trade around.
Yeah, I own IMRX as well in my core. Not huge. The two biotechs I have are VK. Well, two. I have a few others like CRISPR, but VKTX and IMRX are two that I have in my long term. I actually don't own SMT in my long term. I'm just interested in trading around this because I expect additional big pops with the huge short position. And I think a lot of people would be surprised to learn that this 17 billion is actually warranted. I did a bunch of research on this last night. IMRX also, I did a lot of research on this and the technology and everything. By the way, I have a doctor of pharmacy degree for those who don't know. So biotechs, but IMRX, just a little bit of worry from me that they'll throw an unexpected offering a little bit too early. So I don't have a huge position, but if they do that because they run out of cash middle of next year, I know there's more data coming year end, but I don't trust management to wait for the ideal time to raise money. I've seen management screw up on that many times. Not this management in generally speaking. So I'm holding some firepower here. If they do an offering to extend their runway, I'll be all over that. So that's my take on IMRX, VKTX. I think it's best in class GLP-1s. And Summit for me, just a trade, trying to find the bottom for the next short squeeze leg up. All right, we're at 11:36. Benzinga hasn't pulled us yet. You want us to keep going? I don't know. I guess we'll just keep talking. Brett, any comments?
I think we should. We kind of need to talk about China here because,
go ahead.
Here's my take on it. Whether this is a mini bazooka or a real bazooka, or whether this is actually going to funnel into some consumer resuscitation or ultimate long-term aid to what is a very material housing issue in China, I will leave to the China experts and the macro experts. But I think that the takeaway from this is And this gets to the story trading platform, especially the pillar called sentiment. Sentiment could not have been worse on China. So anything that changes that and inflects that is going to see, a material expression in the market. And we saw that on the huge up day initially. Anyone that got long yin, which is the levered ETF on China, has done extremely well. But case in point, look at Alibaba. Here's a large cap tech name that was trading under 10 times earnings that nobody could care less about. This thing is revalued materially from the low 80s, close to touching, I think, 100 here. Yeah, there it is, 96. The multiples are low in all of these names. You have to be extremely selective. I don't want to stand here and say that China is investable long term, but I think there's going to be some continued trading opportunities, not just in the Chinese specific names. And two that I like and two that we've chatted about extensively in our community are NEO and Baba, because they both have defensible valuations. They both have catalysts in their business plans. But you can trade this. There's a myriad of ETFs, the KWAB, the Yins, the Yangs, you name it. So it's not a one-day thing. I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see momentum continue in that group. And the other way it gets expressed, and the way that I think it's important, and it just adds another driver to a group that I'm excited about, is the shipping names. And we've been using, and Ben, you've been making some incredible calls on entries and exits in Zim. Both from we've got this potential container strike, or I guess we do have a container strike at the ports. This thing responds on a geopolitical basis. One of the names that I've thrown into the community of late is NMM, which is by far the cheapest and most diversified shipping company. So here you get leverage to tankers and the geopolitical that comes along with that. You get leverage to container rates going up, and you get leverage to dry bulk, which is really where the China thing comes in. So to the extent that they are able to resuscitate the economy at all, you're going to see it in materials, be that coal, be that oil, copper, all the way through the piece. And the other thing I really like about NMM, it has a float of 18 million shares. The CEO has been a recent buyer. The company is in the market with a $100 million buyback, which doesn't sound a lot, but keep in mind the float I just mentioned, buying the stock every day. It's trading just over 3 times or 0.3 times NAV, and the group is closer to 0.6 to some of these names like TORM, for example. TORM are trading at a premium to NAV. So with inflation, the replacement cost of their boats is way higher than the existing share price. They're delevering the balance sheet. They have an industry-leading new build program. So there's reasons to own this long term. And I think you've got a tailwind to see the chart go a lower left to upper right. But because of the low float, you get these intraday, spikes or multi-day spikes and troughs that present some great both day trading as well as scalp and swinging opportunities. So I throw those shipping names out there. Should be on everybody's radar.
All right, sounds good. I think we are good. AT, see it chatting here on the back end. So storytrading.com/Discord. Producer AT is in the stream with audio only. You there?
Yep. I'm here, guys. What's up?
Right.
Can you hear me?
Yep. We hear you.
Awesome. Yeah. If you guys are good, we can wrap it here. If not, I'm fine. There's nothing on after this. If you guys want to keep going a little bit longer, if you want to go till 12 o'clock, I'll hang out with you guys.
I guess we can do that. You got time? Godfather, Rhett?
Yeah,
I'm good.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So maybe
the show goes on, guys.
Maybe we'll look at some charts and do so. Look, you know what I'm interested in? I just wanted. I was right after this was done. I was gonna look at where there's RCAT. I got to do some research. I mean, look, you can't ignore price action. I wonder if something's out there, if something's leaked. Has anyone had a chance to research why this might be going down? Anything leaking on social media? I'm looking right now. So let's see here. I'm checking. So that guy on LinkedIn, Bobby Sakaki, checking him to see if he posts something like, "Oh my gosh, I was wrong." I don't see any new posts from Bobby Sakaki. All right, so let's see what's on StockTwits and Twitter. We're going to be checking as well on RCAT here. Let's see, RCAT. I mean, this is going to be one wild chart if they do win it. Can you imagine? Like going from 350 to 230 to like 8 in the span of a couple weeks. That'll be crazy.
I'm not seeing anything. I mean, it's possible I've missed something here, but you know, price action also begets price action. Don't forget that. So
yeah,
you know, people will flee a ship that's falling or sinking, and then they'll chase it higher as well. So that's just market psychology.
Yeah.
But you know, when we get things like this and you don't know what to do, the right thing to do is to take a step back. But look, this is a binary situation in terms of a near-term contract win. It is a small cap stock. This is, you know, it's rife with risk. So, you know, this, you should be playing with your fun money here. And, you know, like I said, the valuation of $3 is supported here. So, yes, sentiment will take a massive hit. And yes, people will focus on, you know, this debt bridge over the near term. But I suspect that they're going to make their way through this. They are taking steps. You can see it on the hiring posts that they've got in terms of building staff. Obviously, this financing was a big step towards building scale and capacity. So management, everything they're doing, and also the comments, frankly, the comments on the conference call were just so transparent to me. But, you know, it's possible I've completely misread this. But
I don't think how could they know though? I mean, if it was decided, then wouldn't the government have already told them?
They typically tell the companies several days before the rest of the world. So that's possible. But look, you're down to 2 companies, right, from 37 in this contract. They're testing products. There's a lot of people involved. There's always leaks. So, you know, it makes me nervous that Skydio has a much, A, it's a bigger company. B, they've won government contracts in the past. C, they've got an active lobbying program. And sometimes things that are politically driven don't get handed to the best technology. They get handed to where the relationships are or to where the lobbyists were successful. So all of that certainly gives me some nervousness. But when there's these comments like there's a clear winner, and then if you dig into the due diligence, it seems clear that by all specs, the actual technical capabilities of the Teal 3 drone are far superior to that which Skydio put forward for this contract. And, you know, Skydio got absolutely panned for the performance of their drones in Ukraine. So, you know, again, I'm reading the tea leaves my way. Others can, you know, certainly, you know, read it the other way. I'm not saying I'm right. I reserve the right to be wrong, but I personally am taking advantage of this weakness because I believe that the stock will ultimately rebalance to the $3 plus level, irrespective of whether this near-term contract is won. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I definitely see your perspective there from a fundamental valuation, a long-term investment. But yeah, if you're trading this, we'll see what happens. If you're like in it just for this contract win in a trade account or something with short-term options, I don't know. I look at this and we'll see. We'll see. The company is going to find out. And obviously when they had the conference call yesterday morning, was it? Or 2 nights ago? They didn't know at that time. They clearly didn't know for sure. right? Because if they knew, they would have told us. They're allowed to tell us a few days before the government releases it, right? I checked on that, so they're allowed to tell us if the government told them. So the government did not tell them yet, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm not selling, but I'm not happy about this either. Very high volume. The sentiment is checking out. Lots of comments like somebody knows something, and this isn't just retail selling. The volume is very high. I'm guessing leaks about SRR slipping out. This is the stuff that's on social media, so definitely a lot of worry and fear there. IMRX, I just want to point out maybe a little intraday buying opportunity here right now at this line that it's been roughly holding. Let me add the extended hours here. Well, no, this is the line it's been holding, more like 278 to 295, some support there. So that may be interesting for a pickup. Look at TSSI, just no quit in TSSI. Thank God for that. That's giving my portfolio a boost, even after what I shaved off yesterday, up 5%. Mu, I'll be looking at 11:47 a.m. here, another 4 hours or so until the close. I might try another entry in this. I have some intraday trading shares and I have some for earnings. So I was able to sell some options on the pop-up here. Now that we're pulling back, I might get some re-entry after we get off of this show for a potential event anticipation run into the 4 o'clock hour on MU. Anything else popping out to you guys? Any comments there, Rhett?
They just said KTOS is a better defense stock. VKTX is running. DCTH, can you talk about this one, Godfather?
Yeah, so DCTH, let me grab my notes on this. Where are we?
DCTH, 250 million market cap, Delcath Systems. Oh, it's in a nice pullback area right here at around $8.82, 907.
So this is a perfusion technology, essentially for liver cancer. They isolate the liver itself for chemo, so they can provide more of these drugs that are all FDA-approved drugs directly to the organ and have less of an effect on the overall body. This is a technology that's been approved and used in Europe for the longest time, but they don't get great reimbursement for it in the EU. So it hasn't had a material financial impact to the company. So the story has always been, FDA approval and then rolling out in the US. And that's exactly what has happened. Management has executed flawlessly on this. We're seeing both an increase in the number of centers as well as the number of procedures. I revisited this recently, just looking and going back to the comments made on the previous conference call and correlating them to what we're actually seeing in the market. And it's clear that the market is sandbagging on both the volume of procedures going through, as well as the number of centers that they are going to roll out, as well as where the market is on a saturated basis and where they can get to at maturity. They did increase their guidance the last 2 quarters. I think they've given themselves enough scope to continue to increase guidance. The profitability here is through the roof. They have J-code reimbursement, so there are no issues with getting paid. The stock is cheap. Looking at a current valuation here, that's around 7 times EBITDA, less than 15 times on a PE basis. And there's a case for adjusted EBITDA margins to approach 45% here. Gross margins are already in excess of 80. So look, it's a small cap company. I have no idea why 6% of the stock is shorted. They have an absolutely solid balance sheet. So they're building cash. This thing, I think, gets taken over by Boston Scientific or somebody like that ultimately. But in the meantime, you've got a tremendous trajectory to the fundamentals. You have a great company here with the likes of BVF and Rosalind and Stone Pine and some of the other really smart biotech money buying this. They did a financing with several staged warrants, of which they're going to get another $25 million tranche when they hit $10 million in quarterly revenue, which management says will be Q4. The market and myself both believe they could hit that milestone as early as Q3. So there are a ton of catalysts. Every time you get a third-party verification or look at this technology and what the survival rates are post it, the numbers just keep going higher. So this is most certainly gold-plated standard of care at this juncture. So it's just about market uptake, and there's a network effect to this as well. So the more practitioners that you have that are utilizing this technology, the bigger the resource base there is for other folks learning how to use it and all the rest of it. So it builds on itself in terms of momentum. When you've got a platform technology, and this is the other upside that you're paying absolutely nothing for, is the fact that there's the possibility to use this, and they've seen some early efficacy in other solid tumor cancers, etc. So again, you're paying absolutely nothing for that. But I love the top line growth, and more importantly, I love the operating leverage here.
Nice summary on that. While you were doing that, I was doing a little more research on ARCAT. There was something that crossed my mind, which maybe I should have brought up, but I didn't the other day on the earnings, is with this bridge financing had some warrants with it, it looks like.
750,000 warrants for 5 years. That's 650.
Could this be the reason why there's some pressure? Would they be using that to short the stock like a convertible?
No. Absolutely not. Who's shorting stock at 240?
I don't know.
You don't have the right
I just know when there's warrants, there's a lot of games. That's all I know.
No, I think the way to read this is that is the 650 strike. It was a material premium to the $3 or $3.30 that the stock was trading at prior to the quarter. To me, that really grabbed my attention. The fact that there's no interest required to be paid on this thing also grabbed my interest. So, all of this is fodder for the fact that they have actually won this contract, not the reverse, in my opinion. Again, this is just my reading of the tea leaves. I have no inside information here, but God, I love the fact that we're down here at 240, frankly, because I'm continuing to build a position.
So it's not like a free call option to the upside that gives them, kind of a risk-free short. That's not the situation here.
I would rather take the call option in stock right here at 240 than to be handed a warrant for a 650.
Yeah.
Although I like the fact that it's 5 years, but look, size it however you want. There's a liquid options market for this thing. I don't have it up right now, but
I'm pulling up the options right now. Let's see what's going on today.
So there you go. You can buy all the way out till April of next year.
All right, let's see where the volume's at today on these options. Not much going on actually, and not on the put side either. A little bit more call action than put action. Actually, a lot more call action than put action, but not big numbers on ARCAT today. So yeah, I was just looking for maybe another explanation, an innocent explanation, if these guys were out there shorting it just because they could with the warrants, but I guess that's not the case based on that strike price. Wow, Woody, look at that TSSI, unbelievable. I guess.
Have you seen EBS today? What did we call that one?
We bailed on it, right?
Well, yeah. We said that thing is just going to tank.
Yeah, thankfully we got in this on the news. I quickly bailed on that after looking at the price action and doing a little bit more research on that and that deal. It looks like it may have been like some exit liquidity here that they wanted, because that $400 million they reported, at least half of that was previously reported. Some of that for future contracts may have also been PR'd previously, and they have a big debt position. So we safely got out of that in pre-market and avoided this dump. But you know what? We didn't avoid the dump on RCAT because we liked RCAT for today.
I actually bought some puts on EBS.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I bought the I think it was like the $6. I bought them at like 15 and 20 cents.
Yeah.
And then those things just I sold it like I think I sold it like 50, but they went to like 109 or something.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, so
Good
I
job.
did good on that.
Nice.
Oh, I just got a
Nice.
notification. School's canceled.
School is canceled out there in Florida with the next hurricane coming out there. Look at Rocket Labs. Just no quit in Rocket Labs. You can never have enough of a stock that's